Wonderful. Love it when a plan comes together. Welcome to our final pitch competition for Building Business with Impact for 2025. We're so excited to have each and every one of you all here with us. All right, to get us started today, we are so honored to have Mayor Diaz, the mayor of Fort Lauderdale. He serves as the Fort Lauderdale mayor since March 2018, overseeing infrastructure upgrades, downtown transformation, neighborhood protection. He was a previous city commissioner for 8 years, and he was reelected in 2020 and 2024 for his final term. A Boston University graduate, cum laude, 1975, with Juris Doctorate from Stetson University, Mayor Trasales has practiced law in Broward County since 1982. His public service began fighting for equal rights, co-chairing Americans for Equality and championing Broward County's human rights ordinance and domestic partnership law. He represents the Broward County Tourism Development Council, Metropolitan Planning Organization, and Workforce Development Board, earning recognition including the Harvey Milk Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award. Please join me in welcoming for the City of Fort Lauderdale Mayor, Dean Tratalis.
We can do better than that. Time to wake up, folks. Good morning. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm sitting here before 5 of you. I feel so judged. I didn't know what to wear this morning, so I hope you're not too harsh. Good morning. My name is Dean Trentalis, and as mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale, it's been an honor as well as a privilege to be able to represent a community that has truly embarked upon a mission to bring a people, not just one neighborhood, but all neighborhoods forward in trying to everyone appreciate and enjoy the success of a community that continues to grow. And this particular moment this morning as we talk about success and goals in each one of our individual visions, I think that we should step back for a moment and realize how important that is, because it is the folks that are in this room and others that we inspire outside the room that are going to be the foundation for the future of Fort Lauderdale. In the years that I've served in public office, at the end of my term, it'll be 19 years here in Fort Lauderdale. I feel that we laid the foundation that upon which you can now build a city in which the young people find a home for themselves, find opportunity, maybe start a career, and build a family, just like each and every one of you has already started to do. So today, this becomes a landmark event for the city of Fort Lauderdale, the third Building Business with Impact competition, and most importantly, the graduation of the incredible Grow Cohort. It is inspiring to see how far we've come. Just last year, we launched StartUp Fort Lauderdale, StartUp FTL, with our inaugural cohort planting a flag to demonstrate our unwavering commitment to local entrepreneurship. This year, we've exponentially scaled that success. We have hosted not one, but 3 cohorts now celebrate the third of 3 major pitch competitions. This incredible expansion is a direct result of the National League of Cities recognizing Fort Lauderdale in its vision and has awarded us their $20 Economic Mobility Rapid Grant. This grant doesn't just represent dollars, it positions us among the leading cities nationwide that are actively creating clear, equitable pathways to prosperity for all of our residents. This investment has been transformative. It allowed us to support our 2 additional cohorts, ideation, my favorite word, and grow. And critically, it enabled us to provide something tangible. We always love this. Prize money for those in the competition and 19 micro grants to entrepreneurs across our community. Today, we proudly celebrate the 7 resilient graduates from our Grow Cohort. You are taking your businesses to the next level. Your success is Fort Lauderdale's success. To cap off this excitement, 3 outstanding winners today will each receive $1,000. This award is to fuel the next stage of their ventures. These investments are more than just capital. They are a declaration of Fort Lauderdale's commitment to being a city where innovation, courage, and opportunity not only thrive, but are actively supported. To every entrepreneur presenting today, your vision, your hustle, your courage to pursue what others only dream of inspire all of us. And to everyone supporting them, the mentors, the families, and the community, thank you for demonstrating the true meaning of partnership. So let the pitches begin and make today a memorable one. So, because we all know that we are FTL, right? Great. Thank you, everybody, and good luck.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Come on, let's give him another round of applause. Wonderful. What a great kickoff. Next, we'll be hearing from District 3 Commissioner Pamela Beasley Pittman. She is a tireless community advocate known for integrity, diplomacy, and effective communication. A Fort Lauderdale native and graduate of Northeast High School. She attended Broward College, and Midwest Theological University. She served 32 years with Broward County Sheriff's Office, advancing from 911 communication operator to extradition specialist. Commissioner Pittman serves as the president of the historical Dorsey Riverbend Civic Association and founder and CEO of Unified Central Broward Neighborhood Alliance. She previously chaired the American Cancer Society Relay for Life in 2010 to 2018. An ordained minister, she is an active in the Trailblazers of Broward County and a Fraternal Order of the Eastern Stars. Let's give a warm welcome to Commissioner Beasley Pittman.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, let's get some energy in this room. Love. When they read bios, it always makes me feel kind of like, who are they talking about? But, thank you for sharing this morning, kind of giving a overview of some of the things I've accomplished. But it's not about me this morning, it's about you all. And I'm really excited to be here. This is an amazing opportunity just to be here and witness the energy that's in this room. It's filled with these entrepreneurs who are here, supporters, and even community members who are ready to witness innovation in action. What we will see today, the pitches, the passion, and the practical solutions to real change. This is what economic mobility looks like on the ground. These aren't just business ideas. They are our neighbors building opportunities for themselves and creating value in community. The National Leagues of Cities believes in Fort Lauderdale's vision enough to award us their Economic Mobility Rapid Grant. And today, we see that investment come to life. 7 Grow Cohort participants are graduating. 3-pitch competition winners will receive funding, and behind them are 19 micro-grant recipients. All proof that when we invest in people, that they deliver results. So first, let's give a hand to everyone who's here today to be a part of this progress. I am truly, truly proud to represent a community that shows up for each other. Your presence here matters to these entrepreneurs as they take bold steps towards their goals. So what we're going to do today, we're going to celebrate the hard work and the vision. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your tenacity and your vision. and I am cheering you on because the mayor said we are Fort Lauderdale and we are FTL, but what we are also is community that's preparing for the future. So again, thank you for all that you're doing, and we look forward to your business succeeding. God bless you.
Wow. Are y'all excited? All right. You know, when I do workshops and speaking engagements, and they're early in the morning, I always tell people, let me be your coffee for the day, because I'm always energetic in the morning. You know, so just take a sip of my energy and just let it rub off on you as we continue. I'm excited to announce next, we're going to hear from our newly minted Deputy City Manager, Chris Cooper. Chris had over 8 years with the City of Lauderdale, and he has an extensive of over 20 years experience in development service across the city. He's very knowledgeable, and he is truly a pillar for the city of Fort Lauderdale. We're super excited to have him here. Our city manager was not able to make it, but y'all, we're in for such a treat with Chris. I'm setting him up. You all please join me in welcoming Chris Cooper.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here this morning. As Rolla said, I'm here on behalf of our city manager, Raquel Williams. She was unable to attend, but she sends her regards, her congratulations for making it this far, and her welcome to you today. I want to start, excuse me, by acknowledging our mayor and Commissioner Beasley Pittman who are here this morning. Without their and really our entire commission's support for our economic development program, none of this would be possible, and we're very fortunate to have our mayor and commissioner who are, willing to put out policy and resources that make things like this possible and really help grow our businesses in our community. I also want to acknowledge our staff that's here today, our community services department team, our economic development team. We have our director, Portia Garcia, our assistant director, Katrina Johnson. We have we have Amber Cabrera, Melissa Mata, Vaughn Howard. Who am I missing? Servola, well, obviously. I know you all know them, and they've done a lot of great work with you, and we really are fortunate to have such a great and talented team here working to build our business community here in Fort Lauderdale. So yeah, give it up. And thank you to our judges. You've got a today. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of wonderful feedback. These are really experts in the field, and we're so fortunate to have a group here that are willing to give their time and talents to help you all develop as entrepreneurs and business owners here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. So I'd like to welcome you to the third Building Business with Impact pitch competition and our graduation. I've heard you are an incredible cohort and look forward to hearing more about what you are interested in doing here with the city and what your ideas are for your businesses. Today is not only a celebration of the city of Fort Lauderdale and what our future is, which is bright, but it's a celebration of you and your ideas and your future and your potential. For our city, our economic development program is not merely a bureaucratic function. It's the very engine that shapes of shared community prosperity. That is the deep belief that caused our city manager, Raquel Williams, through her leadership to formalize our commitment by elevating economic development to its own dedicated division with our community services department. That's really a city. It really shows the focus and the intent behind our support for you as business owners and future business owners within our city. We did that because supporting our local innovators and creators like you is meant to could and should make. The National Cities Economic Mobility Rapid Grant has enabled us to have comprehensive support for our entrepreneurs, from those early stage ideas to established business owners. So today marks a milestone as we celebrate 7 Grow Cohort graduates who have worked diligently to refine their business strategies and position themselves for sustainable growth. These graduates, you all, join our 31 neighbors who have successfully completed the StartUp FTL program this year. Their success stories and your success stories will demonstrate what's possible when we provide the right training, mentorship, and resources. So the 3 winners that we recognize today will join 19 other entrepreneurs who have received microgrants through this program, each of them representing an investment in Fort Lauderdale's economic vitality and our commitment to supporting local business development. So by championing entrepreneurship, we strengthen our neighborhoods, we grow our economy, and we reinforce the City of Fort Lauderdale's reputation as a dynamic hub for business and innovation. So with that, let's let the pitches begin, and let's build the future of Fort Lauderdale together, because we are FTL.
We are FTL. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's let the pitch competition begin. We're going to start out by introducing our judges for today, and I am excited about our panel of judges that we have here today. We're going to start out with J.R. McFarling, Senior Small Business Development Officer for the Urban League, and JR has an extensive portfolio. You know, one of the things I value about all this is that they have a background in this role, and it was so interesting or cool to me to have community partners that really want to support across the board, because they know, you know, there's a saying that says it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to run a business, right? And so all of these judges are a part of your village in order to run your business. Okay, I'm looking. All right, and our next judge that we have is Anthony Santana. He's the CEO and co-founder of Hardcore Advertising. And I didn't mention this before, but I believe JR has been our judge for the last three pitch competitions. So he's like the last two. Okay, so he's like the OG, and then Anthony is like the real OG, right? Because he's been here with all three. So he's been here with all three. And so Anthony is the co-founder of Hardcore Advertising. It's a business consulting and marketing firm focused on driving real and measurable results and amazing looking creative design. He has more than 20 years of experience in business strategy, media, and marketing. We're so excited to have him here. Next, we have Carol Watson. She is the VP and store manager of TD Bank, and she has joined TD Bank back in 2011 with 29 years of experience in finance and the banking industry. So we have another OG in the house this morning. She currently leads the Fort Lauderdale Cypress Creek location, leveraging her expertise to deliver financial education and small business seminars and workshops. So we've got some experts in the house this morning. Next, we have Ronnie Schwartz, and she is the COO of, I'm not going to say this wrong, REA Strategic Partners. And Ronnie and REA Strategic Partners. They are a tax, accounting, and strategic consulting firm built on structure, compliance, and people-centered leadership. A former pediatric nurse practitioner, Ronnie brings the same precision, triage skills, and empathy from the healthcare industry into the world of business operations. Her experience across clinical care, program development, and system strategy shape her belief that organizations thrive when evidence-based structure meets human-centered leadership. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Y'all, I don't know about y'all, but every time I read a bio, I'm getting even more excited. Last but certainly not least, we have Cole Barr, commercial risk advisor from Whitney Commercial Insurances and Advisors. And Cole is a financial professional who brings a unique blend of analytical strength, leadership experience, operational discipline to his role in the accounting division at REA Strategic Partners. Did I get that right? The more I say it, the more it rolls off my tongue. I love it. Cole also serves as a commercial risk advisor with Whitney Commercial Insurance Advisors, helping business owners to assess exposure, design tailored coverage, and strengthen long-term resilience, which we know is very important for us here as business owners in the state of Florida and Fort Lauderdale. His earlier leadership role at ADP further developed his client-focused approach and ability to manage complex financial needs across the board. So we're so excited to have each and every one of our judges here with us today. Let's give a round of applause for our judges. I know y'all ready. We're ready. Okay. Next, I'm going to introduce our first participant for today. Our first participant is Desiree Weems. Desiree is a family nurse, has been practicing family medicine since 2015. As a graduate of Ohio State University, she has provided health care and has a vast medical knowledge in diagnosing, treating, and prescribing various acute and chronic healthcare problems. She's extremely passionate in the cares that she provides. She serves as an adjunct faculty for the College of Nursing for the University of Virgin Islands and Florida Atlantic University. She also serves as a clinical preceptor to nurse practitioner and RN students. Her experience also includes working as a clinical director and a chief operating officer. She is the owner of Virtual MP Medicine. Please put your hands together for Desiree.
All righty. Good morning, everyone. I am Desiree Weems, and I am the CEO of Virtual MP Medicine, and it is a pleasure to be here today. I am a family nurse practitioner and have been board certified for the last 10 years. So, the problem. Patients need to be seen virtually anywhere. We know that there is not a set time in which you can feel sick. It's never a convenient time. So when that happens, basically patients want to be able to see anywhere without missing time from work, school, or their family. Virtual MP Medicine is a telemedicine practice that sees patients virtually anywhere so that you don't have to miss time from work, school, or your family. So the idea behind the practice. So I started this practice because I needed to be the type of provider that I was when I was growing up in school. I needed somebody who was reliable, who was passionate, who represented me, and that is exactly what I do at Virtual MP Medicine. The clinic currently sees patients for acute and chronic needs. We're looking to expand onto hormone replacement therapy. We're also looking to expand onto in-clinic visits. So we want to be able to treat patients for aesthetic needs, such as Botox, dermal filler, microneedling, and even offering a private skincare line. So this is a current list of services that I do offer, not all inclusive. I treat patients for earaches, sore throats, urinary tract infection, STD test and treat. The clinic primarily focuses on right now the weight loss injectables. So we do prescribe for Mounjaro, we prescribe for Ozempic. We treat for thyroid disorders, high blood pressure, as well as diabetes. As the clinic grows, I am looking to expand onto hormone replacement therapy. So that's treating women who may suffer from hot flashes, irregular menstrual bleeding, treating males who may suffer from erectile dysfunction as well as low testosterone. And we're looking to grow on to aesthetic services by offering dermal filler, Botox, microneedling, offering a private skincare line. So we target at the clinic basically anyone who is 18 years and older, anybody who wants to be seen virtually for any type of medical needs. As the clinic grows, we're looking to expand onto hormone replacement therapy, and like I said before, offering an aesthetic medical line. So why should you choose Virtual MP Medicine among another telemedicine practice? Well, first, the cost. The visits start for an acute or chronic visit at about $50 for a visit. We primarily see patients for the weight loss injectables. So we know that in retail pharmacy, the average cost for the injectables are anywhere around $1,300 to $1,100 per month. The injections at my clinic are starting at about $400 to $470 for a 3-month supply, and that is compounded with glycine, which helps prevent muscle wasting, as well as vitamin B12, which gives you that nice boost of energy as well. And in addition to, you can communicate with me directly. Patients love my personality. I'm very personable. You can reach me with no problems. You have that nice quick turnaround time. This is a visual of where the clinic is and where we're looking to go. So right now we see patients for acute and chronic health services. We're looking to expand on to HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, and looking to expand on with medical aesthetics and offering a private skincare line. So currently, as a solo provider, I'm able to manage the needs of the clinic. However, as the clinic grows, I am looking to hire an additional nurse practitioner as well as an LPN to be able to assist me with prescribing, medication teaching, going over side effects, learning how to inject. And I plan on joining various medical organizations and associations so that I can be able to learn more and stay abreast of current clinical guidelines. So for any questions, please, please, please book an appointment with me today. This is my website, Virtual MP Medicine. My phone number is listed here below, and I am definitely looking forward to taking care of you virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, Desiree. Sorry. We're going to turn it over to our judges for our Q&A timeframe.
Good morning. Yep. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. Good job. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you, JR.
Question for you is the competitive analysis, the space that you're in. I'm not going to say saturated, but it is competitive, and I need a clearer understanding of the competitive landscape and your differentiator.
Correct. So basically, to be considered to be the most competitive person of why you should pick the practice, it boils down to cost. A lot of times when you're seeing somebody and you want to be seen remotely, you have to go through insurance, figure out they're going to be able to cover it. We know that with the weight loss injectables, a lot of times the insurance don't want to cover it, especially even in diabetic. A lot of times a diabetic has to max out on several different diabetic medications before they're even thought about to being on one of the injectables. You don't have to go through that in order to be in my clinic. In addition to getting the injectable, you're getting an additional medication, 2 of them actually, glycine and vitamin B12. So you're actually getting 3 medications for the price of 1 at a considerable rate, 1/3 of the price.
Thank you.
Well, I'll go while you're figuring out the mic. So question on the compounding of the generic Mounjaro or Ozempic.
Correct.
That's not currently FDA approved, right?
No, currently it is.
It is.
So
Okay.
it is approved. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as far as like the pricing, it's a big difference in pricing, but it's also less of the actual medication and a mix of the and the
No.
B12, or is it the same? I'm just curious to see how
Absolutely,
it
it's the
stacks up
exact
to
same medication
the
that you're
full-
getting, in addition to it being compounded. So when you're getting it in a retail pharmacy, you're not getting anything less than what you would get from Publix, CVS, Walgreens. You're getting the exact same, and it's being shipped straight to your house. That cost includes the price of shipping, it includes the cost of needles, so it takes care of everything within that price.
Okay, so the biggest difference is pricing on what you would get, whether
Correct.
and the additional benefits. Now, how do you see that in a? Is it scalable? Like, how many patients can you see in a given month? How many right now? How many patients can you see in a given month? Do you have kind of analysis of that? Because you're going to have to bring in additional people for all the services that you're offering.
Absolutely.
So how does that scalability look like right now, and what would it look like 3 years from now or 2 years from now?
Great question. So right now, I'm able to see anywhere between 3 to 4 patients per day. That's 'cause I also still work in the clinic full time. As the clinic grows, I plan to be able to reduce my current hours in clinic so that I can be able to see patients remotely and offer that service. As we know that with the injectables, that You can see a lot of patients depending on the visit. A lot of patients have more questions than others. Some are pretty much have already been on it and know kind of what they want to do. So that really just depends and varies. But on average, you can see anywhere between 12 to 15 patients per day. And as you grow on and need offer more service, you'll see you definitely need more help with another nurse practitioner and an LPN for sure that can help do that. Or if I still have questions, I'm going to go for injections. Let me. She can answer those. He or she can answer those questions for you.
So that number for an additional nurse you have to bring on is about 15 patients.
I would
per
say
day.
once you hit over 15 to 17, for sure, you definitely want to bring on someone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. Great idea. I'm definitely with everything that's going on in the medical industry and the things that you've covered. I definitely see the need for it, and especially with the way that things are now with the economy. It's hard for people to actually get out. So the teleoffice is really, really very welcomed. I want to ask you a question that kind of surrounds compliance a little bit. So how do you ensure your patients' trust and compliance with virtual care, especially regarding privacy, follow-up, and continuity of care? Because today, especially in virtual, a lot of people are hesitant when you're talking online. There's a lot of breaches and different things like that. So how do you step in and how do you ensure the security and safety of your patients?
Excellent question. So first of all, by ensuring that, first I let the patient know who I am clinically. Most of the times you want to know that you're getting medical care from somebody who's certified. With so many scams going on in Florida, you want to definitely be able to know that whomever is taking care of me is a certified nurse practitioner. They're exactly who they say that they are. So letting them know, I'm a certified nurse practitioner. You can look me up. Here's my licensure. So that's first and foremost. When I communicate with patients, it's in a private background, so I'm not talking to you local Starbucks, whatever the case may be. I'm actually in an office facility, whether it's my private office or in clinic. So you have that background, that kind of lets you know that, okay, I'm not just talking to you in a bathroom or whatever the case may be. So they have that as well on top of it. In addition to having that extra privacy, I also have an electronic healthcare system so that they're able to send portal messages if you want to communicate that way. I do all that I can to alleviate you, to let you know. But most of the time I don't have that issue. By the time patients come to me, they're very confident when they come to me. They know that I'm legit. They know that I'm certified and I'm able to take care of and treat their problems. They also know that if I can't handle it for whatever reason, this is beyond my scope, you need additional referral, I'm going to be able to provide that for you too and point you in the right direction.
Okay. And as far as like cybersecurity and different things like that, what do you have built into your system to protect your patients from that?
Within the electronic healthcare system that I use, it automatically offers that, so it's through consents. So I can send you a consent form letting you know that your information that you give me is protected, so you can feel comfortable giving me your name, your address, your birthday. I send you an invoice, so I never see your own personal credit card information when you're ready to pay. All of those things are electronically sent over to you. I never see that type of, not the credit card information. The demographics and such I do see, but those things right back in and they're secure with the electronic healthcare system that I use.
Great, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
Hi, Desiree.
Hi, Renee.
I might not even need this because I'm pretty loud. So let's talk about the finances a little bit in terms of the future of weight loss meds might be a little different as we go forward. Weight loss is not going to be an injectable anymore, right? We're seeing companies create by mouth pills. It will become something that might not even be over the counter. So how do you foresee the growth of your clinic? Because now the focus is so much on weight loss, and I know you want to grow to hormone, but how do you foresee that going forward?
Absolutely, great question. So basically keeping up with the current clinical guidelines. You want to always be able to, as a provider, to know what the current guideline is and go from there. So if we're shifting from an injectable to, let's say, sublingual, keeping up with that, being able to provide that service. So, and we don't just do injectables exclusively, we offer phentamine, other forms of methods as well. The hottest craze are the injectables, as we know that, but basically keeping up on the guidelines. So I'll transition and change as those needs change and be able to meet my patients where they are. I don't want, what if you're afraid of needles? I want to be able to meet you where you are no matter what. So if an injection is good for you, great. If an oral is better for you, let's do it. Whatever the need is, I'm willing to meet you where you are to meet your demands. And that's the purpose of joining different organizations to stay abreast, to stay with those guidelines.
And in terms of the profitability, at your current rate, what do you see your profitability going with? Because you're talking mostly about the injectables. What is the service model in terms of pricing? Is it just that $400 for the month per client? And is that just for that kind of client, as opposed to what you spoke about, offering the other services that are the earaches, the UTIs, the daily occurrences that the urgent care might require a visit to? What is the pricing range and profitability that you see in order for you to be able to hopefully do this full time?
So right now, the visits start at $50 for an acute and chronic visit. Most of the time is very simple. My urine's been burning overnight. This is what I'm thinking. I talk with you, of course, asking you more medical extensive questions, but it starts off as that. For the prescriptions, it's on a prescription-based model right now. I am looking to expand onto more of that subscription-type model. That is definitely what I'm looking forward to doing. So that by that way, let's say, you didn't need me this time for the weight loss injectable, but by the way, this time I think my ear aches. So it's like a package kind of deal is the model that I'm looking to transition to. So that's the path that I plan on going.
So almost like a concierge medicine
Exactly.
idea.
Exactly. That is directly the direction I'm looking forward to going towards.
Hi, Desiree. Nice job. How do you get the GLPs so cheap? You said $1,100, $1,200 normally, and you can get it for $400.
Correct. Yeah. So I get it through a compound pharmacy. So a lot of times when you establish relationships with a compounding pharmacy, you're able to get it at that great rate.
Do you have any sort of markup on that, or are you just selling it straight
There is
wholesale
a
rate?
markup on it, which that does include my consultation fee.
Okay, gotcha. And another question I had, have you ever thought about getting into the peptides? So you're looking into the hormone therapy or doing the GLPs. Are you going to do the peptides as well?
Absolutely. So I want to be able to expand onto as many services as I can. I am familiar with the peptides, but that is something that I'm definitely still clinically growing and learning into that role.
Gotcha. That's what I had so far. Thank you.
Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's give Desiree one more hand. All right, while our judges are taking a moment to score, I am going to go ahead and introduce our next participant, who is Emily Bushwell of EMazing Marketing. And it's coming. All right. Apologies for the delay. I don't know, my screen went down. Okay, Emily is the founder of EMazing Marketing, a Fort Lauderdale-based agency helping businesses elevate their brands through strategic marketing, digital media, and event activations. With a degree in journalism, strategic communication from the city of Missouri, she began her career in advertising, managing campaigns for top brands across automotive, healthcare, retail, and tourism. After leading digital strategy teams in Chicago and South Florida, she transitioned into the marine industry, spearheading marketing for the largest recreation yacht facility in the U.S. That experience inspired her to launch EMazing Marketing, a boutique firm built on hands-on partnership and measurable results. Today, Emily collaborates with clients like the U.S. Super Yacht Association, Verge Yacht Design, and Riviera Beach Police Foundation to create bold brands. Please join me in welcoming Emily.
All right, let's make this thing taller for my Amazonian self. Okay, can you guys hear me? Yay. I think it'll do, maybe. Oh, you know what? Okay, and then let me set my timer so that you guys don't hear me yapping too long. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. I am Emily Birchwell, and as mentioned, I am the founder and owner of EMazing Marketing. And here's the story. So I've always worked full-time in a marketing and advertising agency across Florida as well as Chicago. And I eventually went to a startup after starting a side hustle. I didn't necessarily intend to go full-time with it. However, once I did that side hustle, I was having it on the side. And then when I realized that I could join a startup, not a good fit. I was actually told that I was not entrepreneurial enough, which put a pretty salty chip on my shoulder. And from there, I decided it was time for me to turn this into full-time and prove to myself, as well as help the businesses around to make it better in terms of their marketing. There we go. In terms of the problem, I see that many small businesses, medium-sized businesses struggle with effective marketing. They lack the time, the resources, the energy to keep consistent with the strategy. And so that's where I come in. The solution I have is I am a boutique agency, and I do everything from strategy to execution depending on what your needs are. I partner with you. What's great is I work with a lot of different personality types. Over the years, I've learned to navigate that, and I can be treated as a partner, as part of your team without the overhead, the payroll, the 401k. So people just look to me as an extension of their team, and I offer a variety of marketing services. So whether it be content creation, social media management, website design, and even event planning as well as activation. So you can view me as the face of your marketing, or I can be behind the scenes, whichever you prefer. Who it helps are local entrepreneurs, small and medium-sized businesses, ultimately are in the marine industry, perhaps they're even in lifestyle brands. I have experience in a lot of different verticals. I am industry agnostic. However, I do have a lot of experience in the marine industry, and a lot of my contacts are through that, and so that's why I have many marine industry clients. As far as my competitors go, of course, we have the larger agencies. I came from that background. They're low touch, high cost, and that's really not what the smaller, medium-sized businesses need. And there's, of course, the DIY tools. I love AI just as much as the next person, but it has made everybody think they're a marketing expert, and really that's not necessarily the case. I can help you with a strategy all the way through the execution. And why I win is because I have big agency results on a small scale in terms of small agency relationships. You can count on me to be there for you. You don't have to ask where I am. I'm very communicative. I love to project management, love a good timeline. And that has been proven with great success in some of the partnerships I have and the clients I have with the U.S. Super Yacht Association, Verge Yacht Design, Elite Marine Air Conditioning, and more. So today I am the empire of one, and I would love to grow, of course. So I have 6 active clients, 2 of which are on a retainer basis, and my ultimate objective in the next year is to double my retainer basis. I would love that, and with that, I would also love to improve my efficiency. That's a big thing for me. I spend a lot of time on admin, lots of custom-made spreadsheets, time tracking, and I really would love to incorporate a CRM so that I can be more efficient. I can focus more time on the strategy and the execution and less on the administrative piece. My 2-year goal would be to hire part-time some design and social media help. So you've heard a little bit about what I plan to do. With that, I expect that my revenue could increase by 50% in the next year if I were to double my retainer clients, and that would be my goal. And then, of course, the implementation of the CRM and time tracking would be amazing. So you've heard a little bit about where I'm headed, and now I want to talk about the momentum that I want to keep moving forward. So if I were awarded this $1,000, I would implement a CRM and a time tracking tool that I could pay for on a subscription basis. The next steps there would be to finalize that platform, determine what it is that I'd like to move forward with, and the thing that excites me the most is the community impact this would have. So when I succeed, when my clients succeed, Fort Lauderdale succeeds. That is ultimately the objective there, and your $1,000 investment would help not just me, but it would empower more local businesses. This is just an example of how I'm connected to the community. I'm involved with many different groups, and these are the clients I'm fortunate enough to be able to work with. And, you know, they say if you build it, they will come. I say if you build it amazingly, then they will stay. So I encourage you all to meet with me. Go ahead and scan this QR code, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Emily. Great job with the presentation.
Thank you.
I have a couple of two-parter here. So first off, you mentioned doubling or increasing your retainer. Would love to hear how. Like, what is the strategy? How are you going to do that? And then the other thing is, what is the overall growth potential for the industry that you're in? Because it can be construed as somewhat, saturated from business owners. So what is the industry, and how are you grabbing market share specifically within this space?
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of the retainer, so a lot of times clients could be hesitant to commit to something that's consistently happening. Front of the month, they're paying a bill, they want to know that they can trust me. So that's where I start typically, is I'll do it on an hourly basis, I'll do it on a project basis, just to ensure that they get the comfort level. And then it becomes something that's very easy for them. They know that they're going to get not just, 1 hour here, 1 hour there. I'll do more. I'll go above and beyond for them. And so that's how I tend to get more retainer clients. And then in terms of the saturated market, I agree. It is pretty saturated. But there is a ton of growth. Everybody needs marketing. When business is down, you need marketing more. And so regardless of who you are, there's multiple marketing agencies here. There's enough for all of us. And I bring the expertise in a lot of different verticals, and specific in the marine industry. Not a lot of marine-based marketers are successful, and that really are a partner to their customer. So that's what I.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is one that's obviously near and dear to my heart, right?
Yes.
So our business models are very similar in how we do things. There's a lot. I love what you said about there's plenty of business for everybody, because there is. So for years, I've been a part of this group. It's called SFIMA, the South Florida Interactive Marketing Association. And it's a group of just marketers and agencies, and we are all friends, and we discuss what the latest trends are. So that mindset is a great one to have, because things constantly evolve. Now, you talked about increasing your retainers. Now, when you increase a retainer, you also have to have processes in place. If you're going to scale as an agency, it's not just bringing on new clients to bring on new fulfillment people, right? New employees. Employees is the worst thing you can have in a company. I'm going to say that out loud, but employees are the worst thing you can have in a company. I know that employment is important, but when you're an advertising agency, the model is a little different. So you bring on a new client, you hire people for that client, and then all of a sudden you have to fire that all those people when that client leaves for any reason. So you have to kind of explore what that looks like on the scalability. On our side, we've made it a partnership kind of thing with people that we've worked with this association I'm a part of. So when you are planning on increasing that retainer, it's all right. What does it look like? How do I be consistent with my services? So the easiest thing you can do for yourself is to make sure you have your processes in place. So how are your processes now? If you onboard a client, is it different for every client you onboard, or are you already following something where it's easy? Hey, I sign the client goes through these steps, the client gets in, they start to get fulfilled, I'm on retainer.
There are some bespoke pieces to each client, but the overall premise is the same. So I do an onboarding, I get to understand their business, I meet with them ideally in person, and we develop what their goals are, what the strategy will be, and then I come back to them. And we have meetings on the frequency of however often they would like. I have one client that will just text each other, and I have no problem doing that. We get things done quickly, and that's great. And then in terms of growing, I agree, having employees scares me. I used to have people on my team, but right now I've been building my bench in terms of subcontractors that I can partner with. And so I found a couple that have been like, you call me, I'm there. You're my number one. And that has been hugely helpful and has been a big vote of confidence for me. So that's really what I'm doing right now. And eventually I will probably have to have employees. So.
And you mentioned investment in the CRM as a necessity. Now, the
Yes.
CRM is extremely important, right?
Yes.
But there are some really low-cost solutions that you probably wouldn't need $1,000 for, right?
Right.
A HubSpot subscription is $50.
Exactly.
Go high-level subscription is $97, and it gives you everything from posting. What are you looking at? What is your plan with the CRM?
Exactly. So HubSpot would be my ideal. I have a lot of experience in that right now. I do that with some of my clients. There's obviously different tiers, but you get to that freemium base where you're just like, you're limited. So I would love to do that. I would also try to find a time tracking tool. This has been the bane of my existence. I think I even brought it up to you when you were presenting to us.
I might know someone who just built one in their last cohort, right?
Love that. Yes. So I hate time tracking. And so everything has been very custom. It's been Google Sheets and formulas, and I'm just digging into my media planning brain to use them. But I would love something that I could pay a subscription for and I could carry that through. And then maybe I can even tie my invoicing into it as well. I currently use QuickBooks, but the time tracking function isn't great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. How are
Good
you, Emily?
morning. Great.
Love the green.
Thank
I have
you.
to say, being with TD Bank, you're speaking my language.
You can
there,
borrow
right?
it.
Green. I might have to get a suit like that for our next summit. And
There you go.
right. Bet you I would get a lot of attention with that one, right?
Sure thing.
Well, great. Listen, I love the presentation that you did. You're very comfortable on the platform and in your arena, and it shows that you do have experience with marketing. My question to you is, how do you measure the success of your marketing or event campaigns, right? What results matter to you or to your clients the most? Because we know that measurement is extremely important for the success of your business. So what are you using? How do you measure if you're successful to go on, or if not, to pull back and try to redo or take a look at what's happening? So what do you currently use, or what do you plan on using to measure your success?
That's an excellent question because I'm here talking about measurable success. So great question. In terms of how I measure it, it depends on the client again. So I have one client that I do their social media campaigns for, specifically working on their brand awareness within LinkedIn. And so I've done a baseline analysis, and then each month I take a look at how many followers they've gained, were they new, how many visitors have they gotten, what are the top performing posts, could I then align that to the next month? So in that case, they get a monthly report, and I look at it and ensure that we're heading in the right direction. There's other clients in terms of, say, the U.S. Super Yacht Association. I also help out with membership. Membership is key to that organization. They're not putting something in a cart and selling it. They really run by their members. So we've increased the membership base. We've made it much more approachable. They know what they're getting. They get an onboarding packet. And so that's ultimately what I do for them, as well as, same thing, I got some of the on our website. We're actively directing things like in the newsletter to the website. Actually looked yesterday, the traffic for U.S. Super Yacht Association, is through the roof on their website, and I never really thought it would get to that point. So I'm definitely pleased. And so it really just depends on the client, but it is a very important aspect, and I want to be able to come back to them with something tangible each time.
Yeah, that's good. Very important, because a lot of businesses don't understand. And with your business, the success of your business is really built upon the success of each client. So it's
Exactly.
not just the umbrella of the build of the business. You have to specifically look at each customer, and their success will be pointed towards each client. Then you're ensuring the success of the business. But a lot of business owners don't get that. They look holistically at the success of the business, but they forget to pinpoint each client, because it will be your success. So great job. I can tell that you have been in marketing for a while. Good.
Hi, Emily. So, speaking from somebody who has zero marketing budget for her company, literally zero marketing budget, we did not prioritize that. We grew 400% in 18 months in South Florida simply from word of mouth. But at this point, we look and see maybe perhaps marketing is something that is important. And we, like you, which my favorite statement that you made was big agency results and small agency relationship, because that's exactly where REA stands as well. We have the resources, the connections, the strategic partners to be able to give you that big corporate feel, but a small personalized experience. But how do you grow yourself? Because like it was said, it is a saturated market. I mean, I am hit on a daily basis with email solicitations for marketing and branding, social content on a daily basis. I literally get so much because we are out there in some capacity. How do you plan to, or are, because obviously you have clients, but you want to double those clients. What is your process to actually do that? Because for me, it's been just word of mouth. It's been a blessing of luck. I'll be honest with you. Good service led to more clients and strategic partners and referral agreements. But how is it going to grow for you specifically? What is your plan to go from 5 to double that to 10?
Absolutely. So that is always a challenge, is working on your business, working in your business. I always say, obviously the clients come first. So the marketing hasn't been there. In the beginning, this is so bad, but I didn't have a website. And my designer was like, you have to have a website. Just get something out there before the boat show. So it exists, but to be honest, it's not driving a lot of leads. So where I get business from and traction is ultimately the clients that I currently have, the word of mouth. It has been huge for me to be a part of the U.S. Super Yacht Association. People have gotten to know me when I was at a full-time job before, and now they know me on this capacity. They see the professionalism, they see that I'm dedicated and driven, and so that encourages them to then bring me on as a partner, which has been incredible. But to your point, there's not a lot, on my side, there's not a lot of marketing being done. There's not a lot to really, I'm not investing in terms of money for that. But I do get involved in the community. I actually even hosted, I dance on the side too. So I choreographed a dance for actually someone that is involved in the U.S. Super Yacht Association. Just did it because she asked me to. She was being awarded, and I just wanted to be there to do something for her. Ultimately, that has turned into people being like, what, who are you? Like, you're talking about the marine industry all the time. Like, are you just a dancer? Like, what? And so that has turned into, actually, I had a meeting this week of someone that I choreographed the owner, and now we're talking about how I can be a partner to them and help them refer business. So it's really been non-traditional, which I love, and it's been organic too, and that's huge to me. I don't want it to seem forced. I'm not an influencer. I'm in the millennial age, so I'm like kind of borderline there. But that's pretty much what I've been doing, and I hope to carry that through. And with these businesses, I encourage them to give me constructive feedback, of course, but also if they're happy, please tell your network. That counts more than anything.
Hi, Emily. Nice job. Have you thought about like picking a niche? So you're talking about the marine industry. Like, tell us a little bit more about your background in that and like your competition in terms of other marketing agencies in the marine industry.
Yes, absolutely. So I could just go straight up in the marine industry. That is where my most recent experience is. I was at 5.5 years at this large shipyard group. And I can do that, but I also don't want to forget the experience I had. I had 6 years in automotive working on $200 million budgets for Nissan. So I have that wide variety, and I don't think that I should pigeonhole myself into just I am only the marine industry. Of course, that's the bulk of my business right now, and I'm happy to continue going down that path. I'm involved in many of the industry association groups, so it's great. But ultimately, the competition that I have, I feel like it's varied. There's a lot of people that say they'll do digital. Really, what's been helpful is actually like knowing these competitors. I can bring them on for stuff in certain capacities, or they take on something. Maybe they're more of the video production side of things, and I'm more of the project management. And so that's actually been really awesome, is finding people that would normally be considered competitors are actually partners, and we can get more done together. So that's pretty much the approach I've been taking.
Okay, got it. What do you think your capacity is? Like, how many clients do you think you could take on? Or are you looking for bigger clients? You know, maybe you have 5 or 6 big ones, or 10 smaller ones. What's your approach as you're prospecting out there?
In terms of myself, or if I were to grow?
As you try to grow.
Okay. So it isn't a set number. It's not a golden number that I'm like, oh, at 10, I need to grow. But I notice in terms of the hours. So if I have something that's taking up 40 hours a week, I have another 10 hours on another retainer client, I really need to be cognizant of that. I want to deliver quality still. I don't want it to be growing chaotically. And they need to expect something that is professional and what they've come to expect even when I had 2 clients. So I do have to consider growing as I go along. There's really not an exact number, but I really look at the hours in terms of time spent. I do have a client that was 40 hours in the past couple of months, and so I had to be cognizant of that. Where can I gain some time back? What can I cut back? Because I want to make sure that all clients are treated with respect and they're all getting the results that they've asked for.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
What an amazing job. Wonderful. I love these organic conversations as we're talking through this, because as an entrepreneur, you know, word of mouth was like the thing, right? As in growing the business and strategic partnerships. I love the fact that there's a lot of conversation about strategic partnerships, because anybody who's an entrepreneur knows that you get to a certain place, you've got to figure out how to expand yourself, and strategic partnerships they are the go-to to make that happen. So I'm excited about these conversations. And so for those of you who are doing this and you're at different stages, take note, take note. There's a lot of golden nuggets that are being shared here today. Next, we're gonna have Jackie Steinert. She is the owner, the founder and CEO of 92 Rise, a lifestyle ecosystem empowering Black women and welcoming allies to heal deeply, lead boldly, and live unapologetically. Previously, she served as the founding board member and vice president of a national nonprofit where she led strategy and built long-term partnerships with Fortune 500 companies, universities, governmental agencies, nonprofits, and border military communities. Her work contributed to a 5-time award-winning online mentoring program, as well as an impactful professional development initiatives that elevate the leadership of military women to amplify their influence locally, nationally, and globally. A U.S. Army veteran, go Army, who? My father was Army. Jackie brings extensive leadership management experience across the corporate, government, and nonprofit sectors. She holds an MBA and a BS in Chinese studies with a minor in general engineering. So she has an eclectic background to share with us. Please give a warm welcome to Jackie Steinert.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jackie Stennett, CEO and founder of 92 Rise. And we're building an ecosystem that empowers Black women to heal, lead, and live unapologetically. Every day, millions of Black women face sustained trauma at work and beyond, affecting every part of their lives. At 92 Rise, we're not just raising awareness, we're creating solutions shaped by and for the women most impacted. Here's what our data tells us. Since January 2025, 600,000 Black women have exited or been pushed out of the workforce. Meanwhile, nearly 900,000 men have entered it. Black women's unemployment is 7.5%, nearly double the national rate. Pay inequities erase over $1 million in wealth for each Black woman over the course of their lifetimes. Collectively, for Black women, we lose over $42 billion in just 1 year alone. For every 100 men promoted to manager, only 54 Black women advance, with less than 2% reaching the C-suite. They are over 2 times more likely to have their competence questioned at work and are 3 times more likely to leave a job due to toxic workplace cultures. For every 100 men promoted to manager, only 50, I said that one already, correct? Did you all hear that one already? Yes, okay. Excuse me about that. All right. The hidden cost is biological weathering caused by chronic stress that accelerates aging. By midlife, Black women age biologically 7.5 years faster than their peers. Studies confirm that these disparities stem from systemic factors, not genetics or behavior alone. Workplace trauma doesn't just derail careers. It creates a multi-billion-dollar economic drain. Solving this is not only the right thing to do, it's profitable, scalable, and long overdue. Our solution is a seamless, holistic ecosystem. We integrate 4 components: e-commerce, professional development, immersive healing retreats, and freemium tech community platform. Each drives impact and provides multiple ways for women to enter into the ecosystem. Together, these offerings form a multi-phase life cycle within a $7 trillion global wellness economy. E-commerce opens the door and builds our audience while allowing us to reinvest a portion of our sales back into the community. Virtual development expands our reach into our market by providing low or no substantive resources. Each phase fuels the next, growing reach, engagement, and lifetime value. Across the entire model, mission and margin reinforce one another, driving both social impact and profitable, repeatable growth. However, healing retreats generates the deepest impact and highest revenue per customer. So this is where we're going to focus today. Wellness retreats are a $349 billion global market, with 181 million Americans already seeking them. Our core market is 9 million Black women over age 40, and we estimate that 5% of that number are already actively seeking healing from workplace trauma. For our Florida pilot, we're targeting 13,000 early adopters. With less than 1% of that total market, we are already positioned to scale at a tremendous rate. Based on over 100 customer interviews, here's what we've learned about our target customer. She's highly successful, but exhausted. She's carried workplace trauma for years, sometimes decades. She seeks community validation and a path to reclaiming her power, and she's ready to invest in herself to heal completely. Our findings show that 94% have experienced or witnessed workplace bullying. 70% have not healed from the trauma sustained as far back as 20 years. 91% are willing to invest anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 for an effective healing solution, validating our demand and willingness to pay. Our competitors include wellness resorts, nonprofits, workplace wellness programs, executive and life coaches, and hybrid models like 92 Rise. Here's how we're different. We provide culturally centered, evidence-based healing grounded in data and lived experience, expert-led immersion by facilitators with deep expertise, and a full ecosystem that continues beyond the retreat, not just a one-time experience. This is where our competitors fall short. Over a 5-year period, we project revenue growth from $310,000 in year 1 to over $2.7 million in year 5. We also project our profit margins to double, customer acquisition costs to decrease by 50%, I'm not going to go back because I'm having trouble with this clicker. And of course, our margins and impact to grow significantly as we scale. So far, we validated the need with over 100 customer interviews, launched our e-commerce site, secured our first virtual speaker, identified potential retreat partners, and are building our audience and content. I'm a former military officer with over 20 years of leadership experience and designing high-impact professional development programs for leaders. My CFO and I are currently assessing and assembling a team of experts and advisors to scale. We are, she's fantastic, but she sleeps during meetings. We are seeking strategic partners and $50,000 in sponsorships to launch our pilot retreat. And if awarded the $1,000 prize, we'll use it to stand up our website and drive awareness and registrations for our pilot. All right. What we're building is more than a business. It's an ecosystem, a lifeline, and a catalyst. We invite you to scan the QR code to connect with us and to join the Rise. Thank you. Over to your questions.
Thank you. Nice job with the presentation. You went through some of the financial slides. You went through them kind of fast. Wanted to back up and ask if you can be a little bit more clear on the growth projection for the business. Where do you see it, and how much do you see it, your business, not the industry, but you generating over the next, let's say, 24 months from start to phase 2? And then also, what is your target range in terms of revenue that you're going to generate on the business that's going to sustain or create a sustainable environment for you to operate and to then scale the business to the next level?
Correct. This is the chart that shows, and it's probably difficult to see, but the yellow print gives a very, very rough estimate of where some of the revenue is coming from. So for our pilot, we're estimating half of what the room might normally be, which is 50 people. So half of that would be 25 customers. If we charge a rate that's actually below what our numbers find, about $4,000 per person, it gives that number. And then every year that we do advance forward to include the second half of 2026, we're also anticipating bringing in sponsors. These numbers are extremely conservative. Right now, I only have sponsors brought in at $10,000. Based on the work that I've done in the past, that number will probably be significantly higher than that, especially given the types of women who will be in the room, who sponsors may want to connect with. So to answer your question about what it's going to take to become sustainable, the way that I've built it is I'm just trying to keep our expenses as low as possible. I am not necessarily trying to give away any equity either. I'm really trying to go the sponsorship route. I'm trying to go the route of registration fees. And our margins are going to be about a very low 25% or so for these first years, and then expand upwards when we move into 2031. And you'll see we're planning to grow our customers and grow our retreats year after year. So we'll start with one retreat In year one, we'll move to 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, and then beyond that, we may scale exponentially as we bring on more assistants.
Thank you. And one follow-up. So as you're scaling and as you're growing the client base, are you expecting to continue to add new clients, or are you upselling the current client? Or how do you keep the current clients involved in your program throughout? Is that part of your strategy?
Yeah, that is part of the business model. So 92 Rise actually is comprised of 4 different elements. The last element is going to be the one that's on hold for now. We already have launched our e-commerce platform. So that's our entry point. That's where anyone can come in, buy any statement apparel. If they're interested, join our wait list, sign up for events that we already have listed. The virtual development piece gives women another entry point at low cost or no cost. We'll provide professional development, various webinars that help them move forward in whatever area of life that they need to around wellness, around the area of leadership, et cetera. And then, of course, we have those healing. So the plan is we bring them in at various entry points based on the quality of service that we're providing. And we want to continue to have them in our ecosystem, to continue to buy our products, continue to refer, to continue to join our webinars. And what we anticipate the lifetime value of a customer for the healing retreats is, conservatively again, that they'll attend 2 retreats within a 5-year period. So we're saying there's about an $8,000 lifetime value for that customer. But our plan is to keep them in our ecosystem as much as possible, bringing them substantive events at various price points that meet their needs. Does that answer the question? Okay.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So I love these community-based organizations that kind of build on our community, give people opportunities. This is a fantastic and a fantastic presentation, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I'm very impressed with the presentation. A few questions. So is this going to be a subscription model? Because I know you have the event registration, or is it a per event, or is it a booking? How are you managing that?
At this time, it is not a subscription model. However, when we move on to phase 4 for the freemium tech, which right now is not on my radar because that's going to take a different level of expertise and funds, which I do not have right now, that will be more of that subscription model. Of course, e-commerce, come on the site and buy if you're interested in buying. Sign up, join our mailing list. The professional development, again, if you're a part of our mailing list or you become a part of our mailing list or you sign up via social media, et cetera, anyone who's interested in those webinars or events, they're able to attend, not a subscription model, very low cost entry for that. Healing retreats, again, if you're interested in attending based on how we're marketing to that consumer, they come, they pay. Now, what I am planning to do, especially through the e-commerce piece, is have some sort of a membership opportunity where perhaps you can get discounted rates for your merchandise, for the healing retreats. So I'm still working through how all of that is going to function together, but there does need to be some incentive for someone to belong to our ecosystem and become a part of that team.
Okay, so you partially touched on my next question. So the difference between virtual professional development and community insights and knowledge exchange. Because it looks like that's an opportunity to already launch, or that you should have had or should have by that second point, a subscription model. Because it just seems like a natural fit. Is there a reason why you can't have a subscription model to start, or are you just not ready? I know that there's certain technology for phase 4, but I know there's plenty of platforms out there that would let you at least start a community and maybe get that easy revenue, that easy consistent revenue. Because event revenue is tough. When you're relying on just ad hoc revenue throughout the year on events and retreats that you're doing, it's a little tougher to scale and a little tougher to conduct your operation, right? Because you don't have that consistent cash flow.
Mm-hmm. I would have to think through that. What I'm basing it off of, and it certainly doesn't mean it's not right. It's just how I have done business in the past with a very niche group of women who I've dealt with, professional women, very highly educated, well-traveled, et cetera, and what has worked for them in the past. So I will certainly think about that more deeply and integrate that.
And my last question, how are you going to attract new customers to the community? Like, what is your, I guess, top marketing or top advertising or partnerships? What is it?
Strategic partners are going to be key, who I align with, the organizations and what their membership base consists of. Word of mouth, the existing contacts that I already have, again, very similar to the niche that I have been working in for the past 20 years. And then quite a bit on social media as well, and YouTube. And these are, by the way, the only social media I had prior to 92 Rise was LinkedIn. So I am learning YouTube, I am learning all of these different things, and there's a reason why I just chose not to be on social media. But I am understanding the value of how you can educate your consumer and how you can even monetize based on the content that you have. So we have already created a video that's in the final editing stage that really talks about the trajectory of 92 Rise, who our customers are, and why it even matters to them in a way that's very visually appealing and in a way that's going to connect with them viscerally. So it's going to be a combination, but I'm relying very heavily on educating through social media, word of mouth, strategic partnerships.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great presentation.
Thank you.
My question is, what specific professional skill gaps or organizational challenges does your consulting service solve?
I don't know if there are any particular skill gaps that it would solve. And now I'm talking for this presentation B2C.
Okay.
If we move to B2B or B2G, then there might be some skill gaps we can really talk about with regards to what companies say or what organizations say versus what they really do.
Right.
And what the cultural climates are within those organizations and what they really need to do to bring it on par if they're really serious about doing what they say they do.
Right.
For the B2C, I don't view it so much as professional skill gaps and more so that these women are having a very challenging time, and we're talking my core customer, having a very challenging time dealing with trauma that has been sustained as a result of the workforce. On the surface, these women, and there are probably quite a few in this room, because my numbers say and surveys say that 9 out of 10 women in corporate America, in nonprofit, in healthcare, et cetera, have sustained some form of workplace bullying. And the interviews that I have done say over 70% have not yet healed from that trauma. And we're not just talking entry level. We're talking managers, we're talking CEOs, we're talking tenured faculty members, we're talking very seasoned women who are walking around with a brave face, who are sustained or carrying very sustained trauma that manifests in many different ways. So the professional skill gap that I want to attack is not just, again, raising awareness, not just talking about what happened, but really dig deep with the network that I have to try and figure out, well, how do we get here? How do you move past it? What are the skills you're going to need, right? To make sure that this doesn't happen again. Start unraveling some of the onion of why some people are more targeted than others, giving things a name. And the way I plan to do that is, again, really start reaching into my own network, because when I was working in the nonprofit before and I started to experience some of these things myself, I at least had the ability to bring in speakers and start to really understand what is happening here. So, you know, there's a nice space. There are people out there who are expert at this. That's why the partnerships matter. Let them teach, let them help fill those gaps, but just bring it to people who desperately need it.
Right, I definitely understand being in corporate America myself. I definitely, and being a Black woman, I definitely understand. But I know that as we start to peel back what you're doing, as we start to peel back the layers, as we start to dig deep, and as we start to see skill set does become, we want to address certain things. It's like if we peel back the onion and we don't have a solution, then what are we doing, right? So as we are in this consulting business, what you're doing, as you're peeling back, there's a lot of things that will come to surface, because I know, being in the industry myself and having faced some of the same issues that you're speaking about, skill set is one of the things that couldn't be touched. So as the layers start to be peeled back, I can point my finger on, yes, that is the issue, this is the issue, it's not my skill set, because the skill set is there. But if it's not exactly there, and with what you're doing, my question was, do you have things in place that can bridge that gap and help these women? Because we don't want to just find out what the problem is. We want to have a solution to help them holistically so that they can be able to, you know, what you're saying, to be positive forces in that industry. And when we start thinking about dealing with the trauma of being singled out because of race or things like that, we want to make sure that the playing field is definitely,
even.
you know, even, because you can't point your finger and say that I don't have the skill set because I can play with all the big boys and no matter what. And I know what I have that I'm bringing to the table. So that was something I think is really important as we start to scale back things like this in the field that you're in. It's important that we have things in place that we can build up and we can help once we figure out what the issue and problem is, that we can, or issue is, if there is an issue, that we're able to solve that, to put people back in the place that they want to help with the self-esteem. I love what you're doing. I love the healing retreats. I love all of that stuff. It's great. But I am a product of making sure that we can pinpoint also skill set to be able to do that. It's sort of like I can have on all the makeup in the world. I wear MAC very well, and I know I look good. But behind all the makeup, what's actually there, right?
Correct.
So we have to be able to kind of help to fix the issues that are there as well. So definitely love what you're doing. It was just an idea. And my second part is just what I asked the previous contestant as well. How will you measure the success or the progress or outcomes that you have? What do you have in place to measure those?
One of the asks for the $50,000 is being able to make sure that we're able to accurately assess and do outcome measurements. That was like number 3 on that page. So of course we're going to have surveys both pre and post, and we'll do check-ins, or at least depending on the staff that we have available, that's the plan. We're going to do various check-ins. We are looking at retention rates within the programs that we have from the business side of the house, but most importantly, we are more focused on the outcomes for that individual person. So if we're tracking their satisfaction with, let's say, the healing retreats, how much more that has turned engagement for their participation in other programs, that's going to be very important. From a monetary side of the house, of course, we're going to be looking at some key numbers as well to make sure that this is profitable, that it is scalable, that we're going to be able to grow in a way that we anticipate. But it's going to be generated quite a bit from the personal perspective, from the feedback that we receive from the attendees.
And would you follow your attendees for a certain period of time just to make sure that you are kind of watching the growth, you know, being a consultant and being in the industry that you're in with the personal development? Once they start, would you follow them for a certain period of time to see the progression that they have?
I would like to. I belong to a few different groups that every once in a while they'll circle back with us and say, can you talk to us about how your participation in X program has impacted your life? Doing something like that would be very beneficial. But again, our goal is to keep them involved in our ecosystem so that it's just not one and done. So you come to the retreat, but hey, we've got this webinar coming up. You know, we've got, you know, X, Y, or Z coming up. Perhaps we're going to launch into the peer-to-peer mentoring space. Again, these are things that I've done in the past. I don't necessarily want to replicate what I've done. It's really going to be based on what I see the needs of the organization and the needs of the people who are in it and how that evolves. But I wanted to circle back very quickly on that skill set question. Everything you said was right on point. One of the things I do not want to do with the healing retreats is repeat what is already being done. And I think it's really important, especially with some of the insights that I've gained in my own search and with some of the experts who I've connected with, is to dig a little deeper and figure out the whys. We already know why they did it. Now let's figure out what's really going on with you, right? And not necessarily from a skill set other than maybe the emotional intelligence piece, but not necessarily because, you know, you don't have, you know, the finance background, you don't have this or you don't have that, but what else was it that we need to talk about. And more than anything else, let's define the pieces. Because once you give it a name, and I'm speaking from personal experience, once I understood there is actually a name for someone in an organization who they call it a dragon. If you know Dr. Dorothy Susskind, she's kind of like the queen of workplace bullying. She has identified every single player in an organization to include the bystanders. And what we know with workplace bullying, especially if you go with it's called the Tall Poppy Report that was released in Canada, about poppies in a field. When there's one tall, the inclination is to cut it down. Women who are most bullied in the workplace are usually because they're the most successful. And they're usually the most character-filled, and they just don't go with the flow and keep things the way that they are. So letting people understand how the dynamics work, the players and what happens, when you see it, you can no longer react the same again. So that's the type of education I'm talking about, right? Digging a little bit deeper for it. Okay.
Great job, Jackie.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for your service, first
Thank
and
you.
foremost.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
This was a phenomenal presentation. I cried yesterday because of not a client, but an adjunct that I was dealing with for the set client. Didn't cry while I was dealing with him, but afterwards, because I processed it. I brought a 4-letter word to the boardroom, right? I'm a nurse first and foremost, and I brought care to the boardroom, which for most businessmen, including my partner in life and in business, is a 4-letter word. So it evokes a lot of imposter syndrome on my part, even though my qualifications and skill set is way more than most of the people that I deal with. So I think this is vital. But let's talk about the money. Cost of client acquisition. Why is it so high? Where is your money going in terms of getting a consumer? And then how do you decrease it as you plan to? And then my sort of second segue to that is the cost of this is tremendous, even with sponsorship, right? Getting presenters, securing locations, event running. It is astronomical that the profit margins are, the industry margins for these type of events are not very high because of it. So where do you see that? I love your chart. I thought it was phenomenal and very well thought out. But starting with client acquisition, why is it so high? How do you plan to lower it? Oh, wow, look at all this. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Listen. A lot of this data may or may not be, spot on accurate, but I did my best. Let's just put it that way. So my plan, actually, this is something that I thought was realistic. My plan, however, is to keep the customer acquisition costs absolutely as low as possible. I don't want to pay for advertising. I want to use organic word of mouth. I want to use organic social media. I want to use education. I want to really bring people through the door with strategic partnerships and leveraging other people's membership that they have, and then, of course, the ones that I have as well. But the way I came up with my customer acquisition costs was saying that, for all of the different marketing channels that I have, you see that the paid advertising, I'm not doing any of that because I don't have a budget, but why? In today's environment. For social media, email marketing, events, and referrals, that would be the cost of each of those channels. And then I calculated the number of leads that would be generated for each of them, and this is all estimated. What conversion rate I would get for each of those, and then calculated based on the estimate of the number of customers. And those are the costs that I came up with, just trying to estimate it the best that I possibly could. But again, my plan is to go as low budget as I possibly can. So these are very, very conservative numbers, to even include the pricing that I have for the type of event that I'm planning to put on.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
So let's say I'm your ideal client. Like, what does the process look like?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they come to you, and you're like, all right, we're going to onboard you. What does that all look like? Ideally, probably getting them to the retreat, right? But what does that process look like?
you're my ideal customer. So we're B2Cing. So, I'm not offering any services or anything like that other than the programs that I'm offering to you. So if more than likely, if you're entering at an e-commerce site, you're either on my mailing list in my network already, or you have seen me on YouTube or the organization on YouTube, or you've seen us on LinkedIn or wherever we're going to be on social media, and perhaps you just click through and decide, I'm just going to sign up for this event that's coming up in February. So let's say you decide that you want to join a healing retreat. All right. So this is what you would see as a healing retreat. So you would come to the website. You would be greeted with a message that says, hey, you belong here. You'd give us some profile information. You would choose what your voyage is going to be with us. You would choose the dates that you want to participate, and you would actually choose what events you want to participate in. Of course, you pay. And then you would then log into a back end where we start that journey with you, where you're going to get information, where you're going to get resources, where you're going to become a part of our community. Does that answer the question?
Yes. So, for the professional development, is it just like a webinar? Email list, you're reaching them, but it's kind of hard to want to sit on a computer on a Zoom, for a period of time. So what's like the intrigue that you present to your potential customer?
It is going to be about the substance. So as opposed to you sitting on a webinar to talk about how to cultivate your passions, as a matter of fact, the event that we have coming up in February is with Elena Love. We're not just talking about passions. We're going to talk about a psychometric tool that you can use and generate an 18-page report that actually gives you your passion archetypes. And within those passion archetypes, you can decide for yourself, how is this best fitting in my life, and how, most importantly, is it fitting in my workplace? Because if you're working outside of your zone of whatever your true passions are, it's going to impact every single thing that you do. So short answer is we're providing substance, real substance. That's going to help you move forward.
Gotcha. And then I got one last question for you. So, you get 3 revenue streams here from the e-commerce, virtual development, and healing retreats. What's kind of like the breakdown of it? I mean, and then also just thinking about the retreats, what's the initial response when, a potential customer sees $4,000 for a retreat? What's the sort of feedback that you get from them?
Right. E-commerce site has been in beta test for, I would say, a month now. It officially opened today because I had a QR code and you need to get somewhere, so you'll see the e-commerce site. So it's generated, with my beta testers, they're loyal, they bought some stuff. Right now, I can't give you great numbers. Our healing retreats, we haven't launched yet. However, based on the interviews that I have done over the course of a year or so, what they have said to me, it's specifically, and this is a great question, it's specifically professional women who have sustained workplace bullying, who are not yet healed from the trauma, who earn over $80,000 a year, are willing to pay anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. When I do speak with individuals about it, that $4,000, if they can afford it, is nothing when you compare it to the pain that they're experiencing right now. It is very deep and it is very real to them, and it's causing them not to move forward in life the way that they want to.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you for the questions. Thank you, Zarola.
Thank you. All right, we're going to keep moving. This has been great, but we're behind, so we got to catch up. But we're not going to cut anybody short. We just want to be aware. So next, I'm excited to introduce Alex Stinnett. Did I say it right? All right. Alex Stinnett is the founder and CEO of Laminomics. There we go. I'm going to get these words. A social platform that empowers anyone to easily conduct and share their own health studies, and for those studies to be instantly utilized by others. Laminomics aims to democratize medical research so that health insights for everyday people can dramatically be integrated into our mainstream medical knowledge. The official idea of Laminomics as a company first began as a graduate class project, but its origins trace further back. For years prior, Alex noticed how mainstream academics' health research can often overlook the everyday observations people make about their own health, and how new findings in medical research often remain buried or unused for years. This gap underscored the need for a platform where personal discoveries can be quickly shared, aggregated, and turned into actionable insights. Alex holds a master's degree in biotechnology with a concentration in biotech enterprise from John Hopkins University, and a bachelor's degree in microbiology, cell science from the University of Florida. Please join me in welcoming Alex.
Thank you, Servola, for the introduction. And I'm just going to wait for my slides. This happened at another competition once. This feels like deja vu. Okay, here we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Alex Stennett, founder and CEO of Laminomics. As a research student, I often noticed how much research powers our health. From the doctor's tips you see on the news to the health advice you see in newspaper ads, all of that is coming at some point from academic medical research. But I saw a problem. Only a small portion of people who are research scientists are actually contributing to this research, excluding most of the country. This bothered me because this tiny percent of scientists often do not have the health research, their health priorities often do not match the needs of the general population. For instance, heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the United States, and yet only gets 4% of the research budget. But thanks to social media, we now live in an era of democratization. From business to entertainment, the masses increasingly demand input on decisions that affect them. So why don't we extend this trend to medical research? If research stays controlled by a few, then common issues like heart disease remain overlooked and understudied, leading to a sick population whose health needs are mistreated and just not properly addressed. Globally, there are over 4 billion people who have an interest in health, culture, and community, and in America, over 200 million have an interest in biohacking and alternative medicine. Biohacking is a rapidly growing industry with a CAGR of at least 17%, and in this rapidly growing group, we anticipate that at least 1% of biohackers will be our early adopters. So let's talk about Tracy. Tracy has 0 medical research experience, however, a strong drive to optimize her health. She wants to understand her family's history of uterine fibroids and hopes others can benefit from what she finds. She wants to go beyond simply reading things online, but actually wants to contribute her own findings and test her ideas. But in order to do this, her options are limited. She could go for university research, which is slow, gatekeeper heavy, and requires niche connections. She could try research apps, which don't allow users without special university affiliations. Or she could opt for self-publishing, which is costly, often very selective, and most people are not going to read the paper. For most people like Tracy, finding a way to produce the same health insights as researchers is nearly impossible. So that's why we built a social media app for people of any background to conduct, participate, and share their health research. Think of us like a Facebook for research, accessible, social, and fun. Users gain social influence by making quick mini-studies and are able to quickly share real-time insights that help whole communities with these studies. First, users take a 10-minute assessment, which sorts them into a group called a biotribe, which is a group of shared biological and social data. From there, they can create mini-studies, which are just questions that auto-link with participant traits. These mini-studies generate new discussions, and from these discussions, more mini-studies are generated, and so forth. These mini-studies are aggregated in order to generate real-time insights that can be used by all the other users of the platform. One of our strong unfair advantages we anticipate will be future partnerships with organizations for biodata collection. These include genetic testing companies to governments to wearable tech companies. Additionally, we anticipate a strong community and network effects that will help to drive massive engagement. Our revenue model is multi-sided, similar to a lot of social platforms like Facebook. We have individuals on one side and companies on the other. Individuals can choose to pay a $20 per month subscription to get unlimited mini studies, or they can get one free mini study per week. Our minimum 3-year success criteria is to reach 1 million in annual recurring revenue by 2029. Assuming that only 1% pay, that would require over 800,000 users by 2029. Right now, we've garnered interest in over 400 people who are on our wait list. We've also conducted customer interviews to have a thorough understanding of what is desired. Right now, we're working on finessing our marketing strategy, and in the future, plan to start raising funding. I have over 5 years of research experience in an MS in technology, and our team combines over 15 years in app development and marketing experience, and also has experience with HIPAA-compliant apps. Though our CTO is versed in data privacy laws, we still want another layer of protection since we're working with sensitive data. So hiring a business attorney with experience in data privacy and regulations is one of our first priorities. From there, we also plan to hire an accountant and CFO. And then later down the line, when we start to scale into other segments like research and collect biodata, we want to get a partnerships officer and a biostatistician. We ask for a total of 500,000 to capture at least 4,000 paying users by 2029. Most of those funds will go into product and marketing. And if we win the 1,000 today, that will likely go into marketing and legal fees. Lastly, we invite you to scan the QR code to follow us on LinkedIn and join the research revolution. Thank you. What are your questions?
Hi, Alex. Thanks. Nice job with the presentation. Definitely well versed. As your bio was being read, I could feel my head kind of exploding a little bit. I'm not at that level yet. I have a two-parter here for you. So, data protection was one of them, and you touched on it briefly. It's a goal of yours, but how serious? It's a serious, obviously, aspect of the business. And so what's that look like from a cost standpoint or overhead standpoint? And then also, what is your determined to break even through all of that? Because a lot of your overhead is going to be in the technology, I would imagine. But what is your break even per client, per customer?
So far, we've already, basically the data protection is going to be on two sides. So if the actual person who's developing the app, and we've already kind of calculated the budget needed for that. Right now, since we're not working with actual biodata yet, because we want to just have self-reported data for the MVP, that will help to save some cost up front. But then later on, like I said, we're going to be working with a data privacy lawyer, and the cost of the data protection, a lot of that will be integrated with the lawyer as well as with the CTO, if that makes sense.
Follow-up question.
Yes.
And the comfort level for individuals, because I know in this day and era, I'm somewhat paranoid as far as putting my information out there, and it doesn't really matter what. I'm just a little bit paranoid about that.
Yeah.
What is your strategy, or how do you put that at ease for someone like me who is apprehensive about entering, what I determine critical information about myself into a system or a platform?
Sure. So I think one of the best ways to put someone at ease is to simply be very transparent upfront of what, like, you giving your data will entail, where that could go, and to make sure that you're at peace with that upfront. And then to, I guess, help people upfront be more at peace with that, we would try to partner with groups that are, I guess, more legitimate, like the government, the NIH, et cetera.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to follow up, I guess, a little more on the data side of it. So earlier this year, we had the whole movement with 23andMe and their issue of getting purchased and everybody deleting their accounts on 23andMe because they were afraid that this data would be used to up insurance premiums and other areas. How do you combat that, if that's still a concern of many, which wasn't really addressed, other than delete your profile quickly before everybody accesses it?
Yes, so I think one way to combat that would just be simply giving people options with the different, like 23andMe could be one of the options they have. If they don't like that, they could opt for a government program. If they don't like that, they can opt for maybe just using something maybe less invasive like wearable technology.
And I guess it would be more on the individualized basis. So when you're collecting through this social platform information on individuals, is that going to be provided to partners like 23andMe, or is it going to be more generalized information because it's more research based? So it'll be, percentage of this group or this control group or whatever it is.
Sure, so the data is going to be anonymized, and people can opt for maybe who gets their data. Like if they choose to have it be sent to a research institution only, but not companies, or if they are more liberal, or if they maybe don't want to share anything at all and they simply want to use it more for the social mini study aspect. You're welcome.
Good morning, Alex. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Well, just as my counterparts, I mean, data breach was a big part of my question that I had for you. And I can tell, as Jared said, I mean, from your bio to listening to you now, it's clear you are the smartest person in the room. We all know that, but I mean, oh my God, you've basically, the questions that I drafted for you, you kind of answered everything in your presentation and listening to you. So I'll just kind of wrap up by asking you, and I think it's important because longevity is extremely important for anything that we're doing because it's the basis of our success. It's not a one and done. It's not a hit it and quit it. It's the longevity. So how do you plan on retaining your customers that you do get long term?
Yeah, sure. So I think one way we could do is to model off of the existing social medias and just keep increasing engagement. In other words, the thing that will keep people coming to the app will be the other people on it. In addition to that, we have a plan of updates that we want to release kind of to keep things more exciting, keep things more dynamic.
So it's just evolving and just changing different things, finding out what they do like or what's working for them, and kind of revamping that and just continuing.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great job, Alex.
Thank you.
John Hopkins is one of my alma maters, so I'm very proud of you. So my question is, very difficult to get somebody to subscribe to something if they don't see a benefit for themselves, right? Personally, like what do I get out of it? And in terms of that, that's my first question. And the second question, when you talk about the tribes, does the app then put you into this social group with your tribe and allow for that to be something of another revenue stream of communicating in your tribe, whatever that might mean, whether it's medical or social or, what does the tribe get me? So first, really, how do you sell it? What's in it for me? Because this is amazing as a healthcare individual. I love this as a researcher, past researcher, love it. But as a person, how do I get my husband who doesn't really, look into any of that and care to join? What's in it for him? And then once you get those tribes and cohorts, what then?
Yeah, sure. So that will probably come down to the types of people we target, like how we message them to want to start paying money would just depend on the type of segment. So right now we're focusing on biohackers who may be a little bit more enthusiastic up front. And the way we'd incentivize them to want to actually pay a subscription would just be limiting the amount of free mini studies they can make per week. So they only get one a week, which may be a bit frustrating. And if they want to do even just 2 a week, they'd have to start paying that subscription. And then also to your question about biotribes, right now, there's not necessarily a revenue model for those yet. However, we do have what are called research groups, which people can make, are encouraged to make with other biotribe members, and they can research topics. They can specialize on specific topics. They can choose to only network with their biotribe if they want, or they can network with people of different biotribes, just like how, on Facebook, you don't always just network with your family, but you may have a private group chat for them.
Hi, Alex. Very impressive. Question I have, how do you ensure the reliability of that data? If people that don't have a medical research background are contributing to the study, how do you ensure that that data is accurate and, reliable?
Sure. So the idea is that they're really mining questions from the public. So in a way, there's not necessarily a wrong answer. It's really just maybe a wrong method. So the key is to make sure that our method is so good that even if a person has no research background uses it, they can still, in a sense, they're still conducting proper research, but the actual answers they glean aren't necessarily right or wrong. They're just answers that can simply correlate with different factors. If that makes sense.
Gotcha. And then So do you guys own all that data? Is like that would be intellectual property, right? So you guys own that, correct?
So right now, like that may get it, like for now, yes, but in the future that may get a bit hazy when we start to partner. There may be some joint partnerships in the future, joint IP.
Okay. And then also you went back, you had $500,000 is what, you need to get, everything going. Can you kind of break that down for us, what that looks like, what that would be used for?
Sure. So the about 100,000 would be used for the actual app MVP itself. We've already budgeted that. We estimate, just to be safe, 300,000 for marketing over a 3-year period, mainly just using digital marketing methods, and the remainder would go into a mix of legal fees, collateral.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Competitive edge. I know you talked about partnership, but currently, is there anything out there that looks at this in any capacity? I don't know any, but I'm not in that world currently.
Right.
So is there anything that is a competitor currently?
Yeah, sure. So it's difficult so far to find something that does exactly this, but things that could potentially be competitors perhaps would be existing social medias that that in a way already people can share their insights on, they just maybe can't do it with as much precision or data. And then of course, in a way, research universities, because they are technically actual researchers providing the studies, but again, they just tend to be a little bit stagnant. All right, thank you guys.
All right. Next, we have Gypsy Jasmine, South Florida real estate investor dedicated to providing safe, clean, and dependable housing for long-term tenants. As the owner of Fort Lauderdale Solely Real Estate, Gypsy specializes in, I'm sorry, hold on. Let me just blow this up just a little bit. There we go. Specializes in managing well-maintained single-family home located in underserved neighborhoods where quality housing can truly make a difference. Her approach centers on strong tenant relationships, consistent communication, and proactive property care. Her background is as a registered nurse enables her to bring care, organization, and people-first mindset to real estate operations. She is committed to expanding her portfolio strategically and sustainably as market opportunities grow. Every property decision supports the larger vision to create homes where tenants feel safe and rooted in their communities. Thank you so much, and let's give a warm welcome to Gypsy.
Good morning. My name is Gypsy, and my mission through the Fort Lauderdale Soleil Real Estate Investment is to provide clean, safe, and worry-free homes where long-term tenants can truly feel at ease. Now, I don't have a click. Oh, there's a clicker. Let's start with the problem. This illustration right here is my property. It's an older house in the Franklin Park neighborhood, an underserved D-class area where nearly 38% of the residents live in poverty. This neighborhood struggles with instability, which includes persistent drug activity. My property sits near a drug house where users wander the streets day and night. When I purchased the property 7 years ago, there were squatters living in the carport. The windows and doors were barred with security metal plates. It had been vacant for over a year because the previous investor ran off after losing so much money. Now, in all of that distress, I saw something different. I saw a diamond in the rough, an opportunity to change the story of one property on one block. And this belief leads straight into the idea, a better way to rent. Fort Lauderdale Soleil provides well-managed single-family homes designed to bring stability, safety, and comfort to neighborhoods that desperately needs it. Now let's look at the market. As South Florida continues to grow and the cost of living continues to outpace wages, it's becoming increasingly hard to find affordable rentals in accessible and convenient locations, which is why I am on a mission to bring that stability and comfort in the areas that need it. My competitive advantage is rooted in how I operate. I bring on hands-on management, giving the property direct oversight and immediate attention. And my tenant-first philosophy, it builds loyalty and reduces turnover. Now let's talk about money. When people feel safe and respected, they stay long-term. Well-cared homes appreciate much quickly than neglected ones. If I were to be awarded $1,000 today, that money will go directly towards replacing the roof, which is a critical improvement because it maintains the property safety, preserves the property asset, and enables the tenant to feel more stable in the home. And that stability is what fuels the monthly revenue. My next step is clear. It is through strategic acquisition of single-family homes in high-demand Fort Lauderdale area. I can continue investing through in thoughtful renovations, ensuring that the property is well maintained for tenants to live in. And I will expand community partnerships with housing agencies and local organizations who can support my mission. Now, this company is being led by me, who is the owner, founder, property manager, and a registered nurse. As a registered nurse, I have served tenants in vulnerable populations, giving me firsthand insight into their challenges and helping me to understand what stability can truly mean for them. And as a nurse, this experience has also helped me to deeply understand the human foundation. Compassion, clear communication, and reliability helps the tenant to feel supported. It is a model that drives both social impact and meaningful financial returns. I thank you so much for considering Fort Lauderdale Soleil. Together, we could transform neighborhoods, starting with one home that refuses to be forgotten. I invite you to join me in restoring dignity into communities that really need it. Thank you.
Nice job, Jepsy. Good job with the presentation. We're definitely in trying times, certainly down here in South Florida with property and real estate and availability. It's definitely a challenge. I got a two-parter here, shocker. Number one is, where are you going to get the properties, right, as you scale the business? And number two is, how will you, the renovations and the costs and all that stuff associated with that kind of work is also pricey. How are you going to invest in those projects?
Yes, thank you for that
It's
question.
pretty steep.
How would I get the properties? Well, how I've gotten the properties in the past was working with real estate agents. And now the more experience that I have now and more networking, because over the years I've been part of real estate investors meetups where I network and partner with other investors that are like myself or in even more experience. And I've met real estate agents and property managers and who work in different demographics. And knowing what my needs are, it also helped me to build that rapport with them. So moving forward, I know exactly who I can work with, who has access to the MLS, and who could take me to the properties that meets my standards. And how am I funding it? Well, right now, I am funding it through Bootstrap. Because since my mission is to acquire properties, I work and I save and I loan my business the money. And I do it in a way that is very organized because it is a business. Therefore, my business has its own accounts, has its own spreadsheets. I know everything that's going in. I know all the expenditures. I know everything that's coming out. I am really big on spreadsheets. And with that, allow me to see, okay, how much money am I spending? And I have a CPA. I have a CPA that I don't only talk to her once a year, I talk to her throughout the year, and that also helped me to understand what are some of the tax advantages, laws, and changes so that I could have a heads up into spending. Like, for example, with the Big Beautiful Bill, there is some ways that will benefit me with some bonus depreciation. I've had that conversation with my CPA, so I know, okay, moving forward with some of the renovations, what I could use to depreciate and what I could use as repair in order to file in my taxes. So things like that are ways that I'm able to do renovations, and also to finding the hardest thing is finding people to do work. And again, through my partnerships and rapport and also years of experience, it means working with different people. Over the years, I've worked with some companies that were great, I call them back, and I've worked with some companies that are not so great, I know not to call them back, and I have referrals from other investors who, because the investor group are amazing in the fact that they also all want to help each other. So we share contacts. Say, who did your roof or who did your plumbing? We share that contact in order to, help each other and also get people who does quality work.
Thank you.
Good morning or afternoon. I don't know what time it is. So have you given any thought into kind of the property management route as well? So instead of buying these properties, maybe approaching either people that own them, that live in the homes, or that don't live in the homes that are investing in those homes, so that maybe you can get groups in certain areas, and that way you kind of start to build out your own small communities in certain areas. So not necessarily, like I said, you purchase one unit, but how many homes on that block are owned by someone else who's investing, and how many are actually living there because that's their primary home?
Okay, so if I understand your question correctly, is instead of owning no home, I manage the property.
Maybe do like a hybrid model. Have you given a thought to a hybrid model so that it's easier to acquire more properties, you get revenue in, and then you can start to make some of those renovations and then maybe purchase another property?
Oh, it's like when I buy and I live in one unit and I...
Kind of like that.
Okay.
Or if somebody else owns one of the properties, right? Let's say you approach them and you say, hey, let me manage this for you. Okay. So you become almost a hybrid property management owning also. So you're managing your properties, but you're managing the properties of others as well.
Okay, so I have done that in a very small scale because I do it for my dad. Okay. And that's where I've gotten experience, and that's what has actually started me into this business, is through helping him because he has a multifamily. And I've been able to bring on the just more administrative because, again, older generation, I'm the one who able to get on the computer, make sure all the tenants' leases are up to date. So I've been able to do that now because I do still work a full-time job. I am not able to take on so many, but in the future, because I plan to scale slowly, but strategically. Because my idea is to also get deeper understanding, because my background is not in finance or real estate or that stuff, is in nursing. So I bring that care into in what I do. But yet I'm taking the time, for example, this year I've actually went and got my bookkeeping certification because I want to understand deeper how the finances work, and also taking on different courses to better help me understand how this business works so I could do an amazing job, because that is I want to make sure that if something has my name on it, it is done with excellence. So I have done what you're saying, and I do plan to do that in the future, but at a very slow and steady rate.
Hi, Jepsy. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Great presentation. So I've got a little two-parter. The first one is to kind of clarify target problems and customer focus for you. So what market need or challenge does your business uniquely address for your renters or your owners?
Yes, I mentioned earlier is affordability. Okay. So what I've been able to do, because it's when you find properties in those transitioning neighborhoods, it's sometimes they're kind of run down. They're older properties. It's like my property is actually built in the 1950s, so there's just, you have plumbing, you have all these things, and that's why I do my own management, because that also keeps the overhead costs low. And I had a brain fart, but wait, ask me the question again, because I had a brain fart.
No, I got you. I was just asking you what market challenge does your business uniquely address for your owners or your renters?
Yes, affordability.
Okay.
Yes, affordability. So what I've been able to do is have my rent costs I try to keep it approximately about 15%, like 10 to 15% lower than the average market in that zip code, in that area. So again, I work with real estate agents. Okay, what are the houses are renting for? Because my property is a 4.2. So what are they renting for? Okay, they're renting for this house, which is about $3,000, approximately, so $2,800, $3,000. Okay, well, let's rent it for much lower than that. And then that also draws tenants. But we also have a very strict screening policy so that we could get good quality tenants, but at an affordable rate, because my property is like really right off Sunrise Boulevard off I-95. So the location is amazing. It's like 15 minutes to the beach. And it is like, and right off the highway, so you can jump on the highway, go anywhere you want, the turnpike on the other side. So that accessibility and that affordability is what draws tenants to the house.
Right. All right, great answer. And the second part is you spoke a little bit about strategic acquisition, right? So how do you address risk and ensure profitability in your acquisition or management strategy?
Yes. So again, I work with real estate agents, also other property managers that, even though I don't bring them on, but we're partners. And so I could always call them up and just bounce off ideas, and they could also send me some additional stats and see what the housing. So how I acquired that property was, okay, this is what the property is going for, what are the rentals are going for, and I have a whole spreadsheet where I input the numbers and then find out. I'm not exactly correct on the vacancy rate, but I work with the agent to pull out, okay, what was my cap rate? So if the house, for example, that I purchased, the roof at that time was probably 3 years old. So okay, also working with the inspectors. So the inspector, what they do when they go around the house, they give you the lifetime of everything, the appliances, things around the house. So I use that information to kind of give me a general idea of what my cap rate will look like, because, okay, if it's a brand new appliance, I know it has, it's going to be here around here for a couple of years. But if it's aged, I might need to replace in a couple of years. So all those are factored in upon purchasing the house, and I put everything on a spreadsheet, and then I compare. So what I did when I purchased this house was that there was actually another property that I had put an offer in, and I had to choose between those two properties, and I compared the charts and say, okay, which one would be, it's always a risk, because it's not until you start working that you realize, oh, okay, there's additional cost that wasn't initially considered. But that's why you also have that margin of safety, so that you know, okay, there's certain things that may come up after the inspection, and to be prepared for that. But definitely working with the real estate agents, having my spreadsheet, what is my cap rate, what is my vacancy, what rents are going for, how much is this house, and then insurance, taxes, what is my millage, like how, in that area, and things to look forward to. And that's how I analyze and see, okay, does this make sense for what I'm trying to get? Yes.
Right. And if you find a house, how do you assess the risk in that home? Do you have contractors that are working with you to, look at the home, to assess the certain risks that are inside that home before you're bringing in a renter or an owner, before you put that on the market?
Yes, so upon purchasing the home, have inspectors. We have to get an inspector. And I use an inspector that I've used several times. And what I've also done every year is also do inspections again. So, like, for example, this year we just did an inspection. So, again, check the roof, I like to do yearly inspections just so that I have an idea what is coming my way, what expenditures may be coming my way. So I could, pre-plan, especially since a lot of the funds are being, from my own personal funds. So I want to make sure I have funds aside for that to loan to the company and have a way of paying the loan back to myself. So yes, I use inspector, but I also have contractors who comes with me. It's just trying to get them all, trying to get them all the time is not always, because unless they know, okay, you're going to do this job or something, if they're just going to come for the fun of it, that's not always easy. But I have had contractor when I'm really concerned. I had a property I was really concerned about, and I bring a contractor with me to dig how much I'm going to be looking at.
Very important, especially with the renting, because as you said, your background is medical, it's nursing, so you want to make sure that you have experts that are working with you, especially if you're renting, because you get, insurance and obligation and stuff that's coming back to you, that you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We all know I already love you because you're a nurse. And I do have a spot for my nurses, so thank you for being a nurse. So my question is, it's great to be a landlord. It also sucks to be a landlord, right? It's an extremely difficult job and an extremely costly job. It's one thing to be a great landlord, which is wonderful, but you also have really bad renters. And you touched upon this because the goal of your business is to provide safety, stability, and create an environment that promotes greatness, right? But you're located next to a drug center, right? So where are your renters? What are you looking for something specific from a renter? Or, because where is the renter coming from who's going to live next to the drug center, right? And is that guaranteeing what kind of situation or property respect that they will have for your property as well? And that's where the cost factor comes in, right? Because being a landlord is the variable of the costs can be astronomical. Nothing costs $2. It's all in the hundreds of dollars. Just like most of us who are homeowners, right? We get hit with one broken dishwasher that turns into a foundation instability, right? Even though we had an inspection. So this is a very difficult business, but the renters can be the other side of it. So do you have a process in order to contribute to the goal of the mission, which I love, But how do you get to that goal? Because you're just one part of it.
Yes. And thank you for the question. Being a landlord is difficult because, especially since I'm the one providing direct management, I get calls and texts at any time. I got a text during Thanksgiving, about a situation, and I was able to respond quickly. And sometimes, there's one of the issues I have dealt with was tenants paying on time. And, trying to work with that. And that's exactly why I partner with a property manager who's much more experienced than I am and has served as, even my consultant at times. I just can't bring her on because to keep the overhead low, and she understands that, and we've been able to work. If there's, I've even had a situation where she, like, what do you do in a situation where tenants ABC, and then she'll give me a breakdown. She'll even share it because she's like, I'll share whatever you need. So she's also been able to share certain documents and certain things that I could be able to, and that can help. It's been also a learning curve for me because communication, I communicate with my tenant. I let them know that I appreciate the tenancy, where they're coming from. Now, what the real estate agent does they put on the MLS. So we get all sorts of people coming in. Now, one of the biggest challenge is that when they come in the neighborhood and they see the type of neighborhood, then, that's a deal breaker. And and because of that challenge, it makes it much harder for me to find renters, but everybody needs a place to live. And I get, honestly, because of the low rent, I get a lot of people that are interested. And for example, and plus I've also built rapport with the neighbors. So I know many of the neighbors by name. I've also, when the house was vacant, I've also worked with the neighbors, kind of find out what their talents are and have them help me out. So that help build that rapport where, okay, they know me, I know they have my number too, because I had a neighbor that called me one time about a washing machine they saw the tenant taking out the house. They assumed it was mine. I was like, no, that was the tenant's. So I've built that rapport with them, and because I get to know them, I'm able to explain that to the, when I get to meet the potential tenants, tell them, what type of neighbors, because they're pretty, they look scary, but they're really, really nice. Very friendly and nice. So it kind of explains to them, and my current tenant actually have cameras. And that was one of the things that felt, he felt that he needed to do. I was like, by all means, he have cameras around the house, but that's not one of the issues. We have crimes, and that type of crime stuff we don't have in the neighborhood, and I've always reassured them. So getting to know the neighbors, talking to the tenants, what neighbors they have, has helped.
So I think you just hit on a really big idea for your future, and I think Anthony started to talk about that. But so you're building the neighborhood by getting to know everybody in there. Very difficult to do if you go beyond that neighborhood and find homes that are in other areas. So you actually have the opportunity to grow and scale just in that capacity by sort of taking over the neighborhood. And I think you hit it directly just now by exactly what you said. So keep that in mind, because getting to know the community changes the community, and therefore increases your profitability as well. And if it's a start by just property managing for others who are in the community, that's a start. But even with the neighbors trusting you like that, to develop some kind of a system, that's an excellent way to grow and to build up the rapport. So I would focus on that tremendously, because that takes your business from just being a landlord to one property to having a community and really creating a clean and safe and worry-free environment. I applaud you on that answer.
Thank you.
Hi, this is awesome. So I've done the same thing with my dad. We've built a little portfolio here over the past couple of years, so certainly respect the hustle. But I have a lot of numbers questions here. So for one, when you're purchasing these homes, are you buying cash? Are you financing? What does that look like? What does the acquisition of the home look like?
Yes, so acquisition, yes, I go to traditional banking. In fact, my banker is TD Banks. And in order to do that, I have to have good credit because these banks is, they really screen their customers. But do save up. I do everything organically. I have, prior, I always knew I wanted to go into investment because of my dad. Therefore, I have saved my own money over the years strategically to be able to put in not only the down payment, but have money set aside for those rainy days. And I continue to set money at account. And that's the whole primary purpose of that loan account is to loan my personal money to the business, but also have the business, and I work it just like, not like a bank, but I do it where it's going to be paid. If it's going to be within 4 years, have that money automatically transferred back to my personal so that I could use it again for other renovations, other things I need in that property. I do it organically. I go through the traditional bank mortgage. The mortgage, for additional loans I need, I try to use my own money because it is difficult to actually get, for rentals, it is difficult to get money outside, like small business or other organizations for rentals.
Okay. So like what percent down, are you putting above 20 or are you below that?
Oh yes, 20%.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no PMI.
20%,
Okay.
I think 20% for single family and 25 for multifamily.
Okay, and then, are you using like the BRRRR method? Are you, upgrading these homes and then refinancing, pull that money out to go acquire another property?
No, I'm long term. So I buy and hold.
Okay. And then, as you're going to find, like, if you're having rent that's 10 to 50% below what's going in the area, like, are you going through like wholesale? Or are you going to like bank auctions? Like, how are you getting into these homes at a price that you're going to be able to be profitable at?
Well, since I'm not going through a private investor to get the loan, and it has to be like, I prefer, because I have good credit. I have good credit, so I feel like I don't need to go through the private loans where they charge, just much more in interest rates. So I go through a real estate agent who goes through the MLS. So and I have found property. It'll take months, but I do find, I have found properties that, from the MLS through a real estate agent.
Okay. And then, do you have, any cash, like what's your cash on cash return? You buy a property, put 25% down, revenue, subtract all the expenses, what's your sort of return look like on your initial investment?
Okay. That cash on cash return, that changes because of all of the different, because when you buy a property and then there's insurance, there's the tax, because whatever my cash and cash, and I'm trying to give a...
Like, let's say you invested 100 grand. How much of that 100 grand are you going to make in net profit?
Okay, so what happened with this particular property, I told myself in net profit I will make, and I didn't go through, because that was a couple of years ago, that I don't have the number in my head because I have this properties, the last property I purchased was 7 years ago, which is the one I'm showcasing, and I don't have that number particularly in my head, but when I purchased it, I did run an analysis, and the numbers was really good because I remember I was making quite a profit on it to give me leverage, and I had, I'll say, if I remember correctly, it was like I was making, after all my expenditures, was like $500 a month, just cash. Now that changes because, and that's why my cash and cash return has changed because of insurance, of taxes, of this and that. So I don't have an exact number I could tell you, which is right now today, but this is something that I continue to work on to find out how to, where I can minimize expenses to increase profitability without interfering with the integrity of the business.
Okay, and then I'll have one last thing. Roni and Anthony had the great idea with the, going through the neighborhoods and taking over, in a sense, with that community as opposed to buying, because, so I'm from Indiana. The cost of real estate is literally a fifth of what it is here. Like, 1,200 square foot house in Indiana, maybe 100 grand. We have several properties that are anywhere from that 50 to 100 grand range. But you come down here and, you see a shoebox and it's like $500,000. So, we try with the 1% rule, right? Whatever the property is worth, you try to get 1% of that a month in rent. Well, that's pretty difficult to do down here, especially if you want to be 10 to 15% below that. So that's kind of why I ask about the cash on cash returns there, because it doesn't make sense to me here how it's super profitable. But if you take over the neighborhood and the property management side, I think there's definitely a big demand there, and you could really capitalize on that and be profitable.
Yeah, so I purchased that property almost 7 years ago. Therefore, I'm able to do that. But if I were to buy a property today, I will have to, the numbers would change because, of course, housing has gone up. Even though rentals have gone up, but housing has definitely gone up.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we have one more participant. John Payne. John Payne is a South Florida-based digital marketer, artist, and content creator known for blending creativity with data-driven strategy. With experience across branding, social media, analytics, and creative development, he helps small and disadvantaged businesses tell compelling stories that inspire connection, drive results. As the founder of Rainbow Flamingo Marketing, John brings a bold, authentic, and vibrant approach to every project. Let's give a warm welcome to our final contestant for today, John Payne.
All right, so I'm the last one, so I need some energy up here, just as we did in the beginning. Well, my name is John Payne. I am the founder of Rainbow Flamingo Marketing, where bold creativity meets smart strategy. I want all of us to imagine for a moment that we are a small business here in South Florida. We have a great idea, maybe it's a local cafe, or a startup, or even a nonprofit. The problem is that we don't have the time or money to spend in a large marketing budget. This is the problem with many businesses today, and I am here to solve that, if I could solve this first. All right, so many businesses face this problem, and I'm looking to bridge the gap where that area is. All right, I have worked in the marketing industry for 10 years, primarily working with data, and I saw firsthand how these big agencies, the middleman, can overcompensate in areas and prioritize short-term wins over long-term partnerships. I want to change that with this boutique experience that I'm offering with Rainbow Flamingo Marketing. My mission is simple. It's to make high-quality marketing accessible to the businesses that make communities more vibrant, especially here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. So, like I said, my big idea, boutique marketing with corporate experience built on 3 main pillars. High impact creativity. My background, my education is actually in music, so I come already built in with some sort of creativity. My career was built on data. I spent a lot of time working on social campaigns, web campaigns as well, with marketing data, so I plan to blend those 2 together to build better experiences for my clients. I also want to drive the diversity of the city of Fort Lauderdale. I think it's diversity that's going to excel us forward as a community. So those are my main areas that I'm trying to target as far as looking for new clients, the small businesses that are offering something great for us, and the nonprofits that are changing the world. All right. Like I said, small businesses within the city of South Florida. I focus all of my all of my branding and all of my mission forward on the bold identity that I've built with a rainbow flamingo. There are over 67,000 small businesses here in the city of Fort Lauderdale alone. I think that's just going to grow over the years. So I think there's a big opportunity for any marketer to expand a big presence here in the city. Right. Like I said, I have built Rainbow Flamingo Marketing as a vibrant identity here in South Florida, really encompassing both the diversity of all of us, but also the uniqueness of all of us. And with a flamingo, I don't think you can really say more South Florida than that. I've proven expertise working with these national brands. I've worked with Coca-Cola, Samsung, Under Armour, just to name a few. And then I have already spoken on this a little bit, but I feel like I have a good blend of the data as well as the creativity that fuses together to build these unique experiences for clients. All right. The services I'm offering are range from a wide variety of services, anything from branding and creative direction, multimedia management across platforms, email, social media, as well as, like I've already discussed, my data experience with analytic dashboards so we can provide comprehensive strategic plans forward. All right. I have two different models for various clients. For Flamingo Light is what I'm calling it, is going to be roughly 10 hours of services per month, ranging from any of the services that I've listed before. This is for the small businesses here in the city, those startups, those looking just to get their foot in the ground. I also have the Flamingo Pro. This is for those businesses that are looking to scale and expand their presence. Both of them are going to be offered on that hourly packages that I talked about, but with the Flamingo Pro offering more hours and more time. Cool. This is my financial forecasting. We have a small overhead, a fairly conservative growth, and then I want to take it kind of slow for the first 6 months, build up 4 Flamingo Light and 4 Flamingo Pro clients, and then reassess from there where I could offer partnerships or go on to hiring contracts as well. So next steps for launch, regardless of winning, but this is what I would do if I did win the funding. I would focus on my trademarks and business taxes just so I can become a more secure brand while also doing all the legalities so I don't get in trouble. I also want to invest long-term in project management systems. I use Monday.com right now, which I love. I also use Workspace, Google Workspace for all my clients and onboard them that way. And then I want to do a small marketing campaign. Well, obviously, I would do that. Cool. Yeah, so I'm just kind of offering a truly authentic experience for any new client that's looking to expand their presence here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I'm offering it to the dreamers and the doers within the city who want to make this place a more vibrant and unforgettable city. And I want to offer me as a bold partner and bringing out the rainbow flamingo in all of us. Thank you. End scene.
John, thanks for the presentation. Good job.
Thank you.
Question for you is the competitiveness. You know, anytime I hear marketing or you know, anyone that's in that space, I think it's highly competitive. There are so many variations of it, and I'm looking for a clear differentiator that's sustainable. And so if you said it, I missed it. So can you respond to that, please?
You might need to elaborate on that a little bit more for me, as far as...
So your business is in a space that is very saturated.
With other marketing competitors, is what you're saying?
With other individuals, other organizations, or companies, startups, small businesses that are doing some variation of marketing.
Okay.
So my question now, with that framing, is how are you going to be sustainable in your space, given that?
Right. Yeah, so I have a couple different responses. I think my experience alone, just working with the brands that I've worked with and the companies that I've worked with, agencies and national, worldwide, even brand companies, I think my background says a lot about my experience and who I am. I also feel that I offer a great competitive rate for any new businesses, but also larger businesses as well. So I don't think you're going to find prices exactly like I am. I also don't feel like in the long term, you're going to find the partnership that I'm looking to build, that one-on-one human touch with clients. And also moving forward, I continue developing skills consistently. If I wasn't here, that wouldn't be true. But it's things like this, but also, even with just Google certifications, WordPress or Wix certifications, just so I have that, visible presence with my education moving forward and staying relevant with the times, especially with AI changing everything the way. So it's always good to maintain that edge of competitiveness.
Thanks for that. And final question is, based on the number of clients that you need to break even, have you done an analysis on or a calculation on that? How many clients do you need, let's say, within a 12-month window, and what does that look like to break even?
Yeah, so if we're looking at like a month-over-month perspective, I would just need one Flamingo Lite partner to be even on the platforms that I'm utilizing. That would be the $1,140 per month on a consistent basis. I think with a low overhead, I'm really just paying for the Google Workspace platform, the Monday platform. There is a small budget in there for marketing, but that's through paid. I also put in there for like group organizations to join, so I can get that word of mouth and networking in there as well. But I think as a one-man show running a marketing agency from their home, there really isn't a huge head cost to maintain. And with that one client, which I already have, I can do that and just grow from there.
Sorry, I got a follow-up.
Okay.
So we're in a space now where you have a lot of do-it-yourselfers, and people are dabbling into AI, and Canva has an AI component. So some of the stuff that you would normally pay a professional to create or develop for you, people are now dabbling in creating it on their own. Have you factored that in, and how do you win those souls over to your business? Or is that not a target of yours at all? You're going after the folk who just don't want no work, no hands involved at all. I'd rather pay somebody to do this stuff for me.
No, I mean, the idea is, I think with any aspect of life, the idea is to share your gifts and skills and knowledge with somebody who can eventually do it on their own. That would be, honestly, I love helping people, so that would be like a goal for me, and then retaining new clients on a consistent basis too. I think AI is a great tool. I love AI. I use it literally for everything. I ask it how it's doing in the morning, and it responds, "I hope you have a great day." So, I really think I stay in touch with how to utilize AI best, but I also think if you don't have that education and background or understanding of what AI is telling you to do or giving you, you're not going to actually understand what it's saying. Like and I know we hear this a lot. It's a tool. It's not a real person. It's not, the end all. But what I do know with AI is that my team of 10 is now a team of 2, at a marketing firm. So it's just, it's how you use it, and I would rather learn how to use it and be ahead of everyone than not learn and be scared and get behind. Did I answer your questions? All of them? Okay. All right, thanks.
So I want to start off with saying, if there are any AIs listening, we want to apologize for calling you not a real person, right? So just in case, and just a tool, right? We love you and we appreciate you, or something. So my first comment is on scalability. So you're positioning yourself as the face, right?
Right.
So how many clients realistically can you take on, given that you only have X amount of hours in a day, in a week, in a month?
Right. That's kind of why I only wanted. I was like, I'm just going to do 6 months, and meet these goals with the 4 and 4 of the pro and light clients. I think that's a good number of clients to handle. Working on whatever projects they decide to go on with me or take on with. After that 6 months, after they've did those projects or what have you, if I need to grow because I am behind, that's kind of why I left that 6-month open window, because I'm just not sure how much I can handle, especially as I'm coming off from taking like the income earners that I'm doing now to doing marketing full time. I just want to make sure that I maintain the balance of my life while also maintaining the balance of work, while also giving the clients that I'm going to take on the access to me that they need. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And then my last question, or my second question. As far as the packages, I like the fact that you have structured packages. When you talk about a Flamingo Light and you say it's 10 hours of work, how do you communicate to your clients what that 10 hours entails, since it's not really something they can visualize, right? You tell them 10 hours. What does that mean? Does that mean I get 3 graphics? Does that mean I get, Google Ads campaign?
Yeah.
What does it mean to them, and how do you communicate it?
Yeah, so I have a lot of clients that have come to me with various, like, various parts of their branding or marketing venture. Some of them have, already built a website. They just want it to be a website that really works. They already have an idea of what they want for social media. They just want me to build out a marketing strategy with that. So I do offer like a consultation, and I do a brand research project on anyone that I decide to take on, just so I know what I'm talking about. I know what they're offering. I know what they can do. And I showcase, the things that make them unique to build out the things that are going to highlight them in the best way possible to drive the largest audience. That said, each one is going to be different. Each one is going to have different opportunities that they can take advantage of. So when I'm giving them that free consultation, I will assess them and provide that information for them so that they can build the best audience possible.
So that's fine when you're starting out, but how do you address future months? So if it's going to be a retainer model, every month your scope is going to be 10 hours. So how are you keeping track of what services you're giving them, and how you're communicating them? Hey, this month we're at X services. And I say that mostly because in our industry, we have a lot of scope creep. So before you know it, you're at a 10-hour per month, but you've spent 25 hours on the project.
Yeah.
So how do you combat that, and how do you get ahead of that so that you don't have issues in future month as your scope changes? How do you communicate it?
Yeah. So I guess I'm coming off of like doing packages previously on a set amount of hours. So I roughly know how long a certain project is going to take me. And if I say, okay, we have 10 hours this month, I think the best direction we should go forward with this project, that's going to take approximately X amount of hours of my time. If we go over that, we can also offer project-based compensation moving forward from there until we graduate to the Flamingo Pro, which would be the ideal situation. But just because it says 10 hours doesn't necessarily mean they're going to not go over those 10 hours. And the idea is that they do go over and say, hey, you're spending way more money. If you would just go to the Flamingo Pro version, then you'd have more hours for me and you wouldn't do project-based work. Does that make sense? Am I answering your question? I'm trying to answer it.
No,
That's
partially,
a hard question.
and again, it's mostly how it changes. So if you have a set package from month to month, and for 6 months you know that package is going to be set, then the client's going to have an expectation of, this is what I'm going to get for my 10 hours, to design pieces, an ad campaign, or whatever it is. But if you're consulting with them on a month-to-month basis and they're on the retainer and you don't have a set scope per month, you just give them a bucket of hours, then they're going to expect every month for you to go back in front of them and tell them, all right, what are we doing month 2? What are we doing month 3? So that's also going to eat into your hours because you're going to have to do more consulting on their end. So it's just something to think about when you're trying to scale and take on more clients. It's how do I not automate it, but how do I set a longer term plan that we can pivot as needed, but monthly we know what the expectation is. Because when you set the right expectation for a client, that's when you get to retain them and keep them for a longer period of time, and maybe get them into one of the higher plans.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. We'll talk. I need your help.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Now we're talking about you when you were walking up, and we saw the beautiful flamingo. We said if you would have just worn a pink suit.
Oh my
you
God,
would've
I
just
know.
Set it off, right? I mean, that would have been it, right?
I don't look good in pink though. It's not my color.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I just have one quick question that I want to ask you to talk a little bit about competitive advantages. So what's your hot button? What sets you aside from other companies that are doing the same thing that you're doing? If I'm looking for if I'm looking for a marketing firm, what sets you aside? What is the hot button that makes me want to go with you as opposed to going with any of the other firms that are offering the similar services?
My cute face and charming personality.
Well, aside from that, of course.
No, honestly, I think, I have worked in the service industry for my entire life. And I think, honestly, having a great presence with clients and developing a relationship with them that's friendly and personable while also knowledgeable is going to be the best way to handle getting new clients. And I think, the service industry is really underestimated in that way, is that they have a unique skill that allows them to communicate and build new clients and build new networks that many other people don't. So I have that advantage. But as far as like a work standpoint, like I've said, my marketing experience is built primarily in marketing data with a big emphasis on that and building social campaigns, not only driven by what feels right or feels good, because that doesn't always work, but the numbers behind it. We're looking for the highest engagements, the most views, the cutest, the sexiest, the greatest. And that's how you go forward. And I've not only built that creative side alongside my data, but my career was built in the numbers, which is what's going to lead us there.
And in that, real quickly, how do you tailor solutions for different industries?
I'd have to give a research project on the brand, what they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to achieve. I work with a nonprofit now who just wants funds. So their campaign's going to be different, getting donations than, my other client who wants to sell more, mechanically engineered parts. Each campaign is going to require some kind of different thing. I'm not going to do a social campaign for these, mechanic parts that are selling to dishwasher companies. It's going to be more of a B2B strategy, whereas the nonprofit that I'm working for is going to be something that triggers at the heartstrings of the viewers watching it that makes them want to open their wallets for us,
All right, thanks, John.
Beauty of being end in line is that you got to cut it short. We've just been given the notice that we have to get it short. So I just have one comment. I think that, Carol, you nailed it with the niche, right? Your data. I work with a nonprofit right now that spent almost $400,000 in marketing budget last year with, I can't tell you what the ROI was. And that's my big thing as a CFO and strategic growth business advisor is always, well, you paid for it, but what did you get from it? Mm-hmm. And they couldn't actualize or verbalize it. I'm sure their marketing company that they use would have been able to share that information, but the client could not express that. Your knowledge in the data and the numbers is something that you got to lean in on and really use, because they're absolutely right. The marketing, we've talked about this, is so many companies on a daily basis. I'm getting bombarded, but somebody who would tell me, this is my direct return on investment on ads, on socials, on website for your particular industry would get me to listen. And nobody's done that yet to me. So just keep that in mind. And I'm done, Melissa.
Nice job, Alex. I'll be quick too. There's Anthony talked about it. There's only so many hours in the day. So like, do you have good processes and down that were to automate a lot of things, like things like that? So then you can spend the most time doing revenue generating activities.
Yeah. So a lot of the platforms that I'm using that the funding would go for would be to be almost like my personal assistant, automating a lot of the things that we have to do, like sending a thank you email to somebody who sends over an invoice, or following up on something that AI can just summarize and send out for me. It's not going to be the same thing as giving that personal touch to things, but those are automation things that I'm working to build out right now with various different platforms, primarily Monday. So that's one of the big things that saves time for me in automation. Other areas are, I think I'm looking into like a financial investor or financial platform that works best for me. I think I'm going to go with QuickBooks and using their AI features, just so I don't have to worry about that function as well. And it's one less thing that I have to worry about, but more that I can use my energy on with my clients. Does that answer your question? Okay. The manual processes will be taken over. Okay.
Thank you. All right. We're going to excuse our judges. We'd like for you all, before you go to deliberate, to go back to the lunch table and grab your wraps before we all partake in the other wraps. So if you would, please go ahead and make your way to the back table and grab your wraps. And then we're going to get ready to take our lunch break. The judges are going to grab their wraps. They're going to go follow Melissa after they grab their food. She is our Vanna White for the day. And then we're going to take a short lunch break. We are a bit over, so we're going to take a short lunch break, and then next we're going to have our graduation speech and our closing remarks and issue our certificates and then award our winners. So much more to come, folks, much more to come. There we go. We'll just give a couple more minutes and then they'll be ready to go for us. All right, let's grab some lunch.
lies and mounts of pain. Ready, no, ready, no. We just get it. There's one way to go. We just get it. Yes, yes, yes. We just get it, and that's out the door. We just get it. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, okay, we've had some good nights. That's fair, 'cause you brought me light in a way, but now you need to go. I don't wanna lock you, I don't like to fight. I'm just gonna let you go. There you go. I'm not gonna spy, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna let you go. Ready for your past that's come our way. Ready for another love that day. Ready for your lies and mounts of pain. Ready, no, ready, no. We just get it. There's one way to go. We just get it. Yes, yes, yes. We just get it, and that's out the door. We just get it. Yes, yes, yes. Sácatela, 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 sácatela. Cuando tú giras la cabeza, va buscando otra polla. Eres amoroso y es la polla, pero te comerá como una chupacabra. Sácatela, 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 sácatela. Sácatela, no lo sabes You need my time, and I'm here to watch. I could be here every day, Johnny on the spot. Just name the place and show your face. First I had no clue about you, now I'm all brand new about you. I could be my little role play, trying to be cool but you too plain. Burning up this life of mine. Head to toe, competition ain't even close. You know that I want you, girl. You know that I need you, girl. You know that I care. I could be anywhere, but I wanna be here with you, girl. My mind's here and there, but I wanna be here with you, girl. It's okay, let them step in. I wanna be here with you, girl. Girl, you always set my love on fire, 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 fire. Don't you fire, don't you fire. Girl, you always set my love on fire. Pitch me, babe. Say I'm dreaming. All these girls out here, I know they scheming. They not like you. You should be celebrated. Tonight is going down, but it feels like we elevated. I know that I want you, girl. You know that I need you, girl. You know that I care. I could be anywhere, but I wanna be here with you, girl. My mind's here and there, but I wanna be here with you, girl. It's okay, let us step in. I wanna be here with you, girl. Girl, you always set my love on fire.
Bet you're calling, bet you're calling, bet you're falling in love in the bedroom. You can't call it. Such confusion, nothing solid. Too hard to know what's right from wrong. So baby, talk to me, come on. 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 So baby, talk to me, come on. Talk to me, come on. Talk to me, come on. Baby, talk to me, come on. So baby, talk to me, come on. Bedroom calling, better pick it up. 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 Bedroom calling, better pick it up.
All right, if we all take our seats. So as you all know, this is a pitch competition, but it is also a graduation for all of our participants for our Grow Cohort for StartUp FTL. So I want to introduce our director who is going to be giving our graduation speech. Portia Garcia is the inaugural director of the City of Fort Lauderdale's Community Services Department. She has over a decade of progressive leadership experience modernizing critical cities functions to enhance the quality of life and community resilience. Ms. Garcia is the executive responsible for enhancing the quality of life and strengthening. Okay. She leads the strategic vision and operational execution of a wide range of essential community-focused programs designed to promote equitable economic growth and serve residents, workers, and visitors to our city. Her leadership spans housing and community development, including the city's homeless initiative, economic development, arts and cultural affairs, community enhancement and compliance, business tax, and the city's customer support center. Yes, she does it all. Previously, she served as the Deputy Director and Acting Director of the Development Services, managing 285 full-time employees and varieties of community services. Ms. Garcia's leadership is grounded in her commitment to public service, including prior service on active duty and as a reservist in the United States Army. Oh, we got another one in the house. She is highly credentialed and holds a master's in public administration, a graduate certificate in nonprofit and community development from Florida International University, where she earned 2 bachelors in liberal studies and communication. She also holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from the University of Phoenix, and her professional certification includes multiple certifications from the Florida Association of Code Enforcement and certification as a certified code enforcer. I introduce to you all our director, our newly minted director of community services. Put your hands together for Portia Garcia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. I was listening to that and I was like, oh my gosh, I turned 35 tomorrow. And I said, okay, that's good for 35. I'll take it. It really has been a pleasure today to be with you all here as we're preparing for our graduate of the StartUp FTL Grow Cohort. As the Director of Community Services, I have a deep appreciation for growth, resilience, and ingenuity that strengthens our community. And today, we celebrate the embodiment of those qualities in you all. The StartUp FTL Grow Cohort, facilitated under the umbrella of our Economic Development Division, is more than just a training program. It's an investment. It's an investment the city is providing for you all that provides necessary nutrients in the strong structure for your entrepreneurial seeds to truly grow. Over the last several weeks, you haven't just attended workshops. You all have built financial models, you've refined your business plans, you've navigated challenges, you all have shared ideas, you've transformed ideas into market-ready strategies. I hope you all feel extremely proud of yourselves. You all have faced the inevitable uncertainty of starting or scaling a business, and you all have emerged smarter, tougher, and more ready than ever before. To each of the graduates, you're not just business owners, you are job creators. You're not just entrepreneurs, you're community builders. And you're not just starting a company or growing a company, you're writing the next chapter of Fort Lauderdale's economic story. Your success is our success, and your innovation is the engine that will drive our city forward. To the team, a program such as the Grow Cohort of StartUp FTL is the caliber that requires vision, dedication, and countless hours of meticulous work, and you have done a job behind the scenes. It's only fitting that I acknowledge the incredible team within our Economic Development Division whose passion brought this cohort to life and ensured its seamless execution. That's Melissa Mata, and there we go. Amber Cabrera, Vaughn Howard, great job, and Servola Frazier. Immediately following our October cohort, this amazing division, this team began planning for this cohort. And all of that was occurring at the transition of us starting our department on October 1st. So when I saw behind the scenes, there was a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of collaboration, a lot of refining what we were already doing to ensure that you all receive the best possible experience during this cohort. To Melissa, Amber, Servola, and Vaughn, your planning, your organization, and your hard work have been instrumental in making the StartUp FTL cohort sounding successful job. Half of the entire Community Services Department and the City of Fort Lauderdale, thank you all. You are the true champions behind these graduates. What comes next? Thank you. So what comes next? Graduates. This is not an ending, very powerful beginning. The term grow in this cohort's name is not just aspirational, it's a directive. As you step out of this program, remember the network you all have built, the lessons you have learned, and the City of Fort Lauderdale's continued commitment to your journey. We provide the initial boost, but now the propulsion is all yours. Go out and be bold, take calculated risks, and never stop learning. Congratulations, StartUp FTL Grow Cohort graduates. We are eagerly looking forward to witnessing your continued success and the positive impact you all have on our great city. Last but definitely not least, I want to thank each of the judges. Thank you all for your time commitment today. Thank you all for the challenging questions that you all posed to each of our entrepreneurs, for being present and available throughout the entire pitch competition and remaining engaged throughout each session. Thanks for all of the really solid advice that you all provided our entrepreneurs with. And thank you all for investing in Fort Lauderdale and seeing this program as an investment into our future economic development. Thank you all so much. Okay, now let's celebrate.
I thought I lost the envelope. All right, we're going to go ahead and give our certificates of completions, and then we're going to announce our pitch winners. So we're going to invite Amber and Melissa, who's been leading this cohort, to come forward and do our certificates. And they will continue with announcing our award winner.
I'm so proud of all of you, really and truly, just seeing you from day one to now, how your confidence has grown, your knowledge, and just feeling safe in what you're doing. So again, great job, team, great job. So first up, we have Desiree Williams. Yay, come on up. That's what he said. Oh, geez, sorry. I promise, I do know how to read. Next is Emily Birchwell. No, don't leave. That's right. If you can't tell, we are all about the photos. Full documentation. Next, Jacqueline Stennett. Alex Stennett. Gypsy Jasmine. And last but certainly not least, John Payne. We're gonna get together for one last picture with our team. Are we good with the lighting or should we just put? We're good? All right. All right, all eyes right here. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you. Congratulations, everyone. Oh. Drum roll, please. It's like the Academy Awards. And the winners are. All right, I have the envelope with the winners. All right, for our top 3 winners, 92 Rise. Yay! Next up, Laminomics. And lastly, EMazing Marketing. Maybe go down that side because I don't want you to be blocked by the podium. Awesome. Congratulations, you 3. This is so fantastic. Yay! Can we get some music going? Woo, yeah, pump up the jams. We need some celebration music. I am so proud of y'all, really and truly. And as I was saying earlier, you can just see how much thought and preparation went into this because the engagement with the judges, they couldn't just ask a question. They wanted to give you mentorship and coaching, which is what they're all amazing at. And so I hope you take that to heart, the stuff that you learned, not just from Melissa, myself, and through the Kaufman training, but from the wonderful mentors that we've had. Reached out to them as they've asked, and build those relationships and try to keep connected with one another. Because as we said, growing together makes it a lot more enjoyable. So congratulations again, y'all. I believe it.
It was that you all were phenomenal and very impressive and truly the reason that South Florida is thriving.
Woo! Yes.
I want to say all of you are winners today. All of you. Everything you do, focus what you're doing with the community. Everything, as Melissa said on one of our calls, I do not want to be in your shoes just because we got some phenomenal people. And she was absolutely correct. This is very difficult. Job well done to all of you. I look forward to seeing success from all of you. And City Bank is here to help in whatever way you can.
And with that, it's a wrap. Thank you all so much.
So if you want me, show me how you feel.